Welcome to Obstacle Running Adventures.
Over the last 7 years, we have consistently released weekly episodes focusing on
obstacle course racing, running, and other adventures.
You'll hear interviews, event recaps, conversations about our sport,
quick news updates about happenings in our community.
And now, here are your hosts,
Standing on the corner,
Michael Stefano and Caitlin Ritter.
Hey guys, it's Michael Stefano.
And Caitlin Ritter. And Mikey, how was your weekend?
Horrible. How was yours?
Horrible.
Yeah, Caitlin. I went to urgent care, do you remember?
No, I do remember, but that's like, you can't say the whole weekend is horrible.
Oh, the second half was real bad. Well, I've been in horrible back pain since Friday. Correction, pretty bad back pain for the past 6-7 years. Really bad back pain Friday. Went to urgent care on Sunday. Got an x-ray because they didn't have an MRI there. And it shows that there's there's not a healthy gap of cushion between my last vertebrae and the coccyx. Oh god, what's the tail?
The tailbone?
Yeah, I don't know. They're grinding against each other. It's a whole thing. It's not pleasant. But yesterday it took me 13 hours to be relatively pain-free, and today I'm feeling pretty good. So thank Christ.
It's the bath I gave you.
Yeah. Thank you for drawing me a bath.
Well, I went to Trader Joe's, and I just love it there.
Yes, it was real bad though. But I'm supposed to be going to physical therapy. But you know what therapy I did? I did a retail therapy, baby.
What did you buy me?
It wasn't even a Black Friday deal, but I really wanted to get myself an Xbox Series X and a PlayStation 5. So I'm like, I'll get them both refurbished. And I got both of them for like $850. Felt good.
When was the last time you spent that much money on me?
Oh, good. Your ring. That was expensive. That was paid for with Patreon money. To be clear, this was not paid for with Patreon money. But when's the last time I paid this much money for myself?
Our flights to Italy?
Oh, I was going to say my bike.
Oh,
my bike.
Wow, you're just being a big spender. But before that,
I know, right? I'm not used to spending money on myself, so enough of the ups and downs of the weekend. I'll get to more downs later. Have no fear about that. Let's give a shout out to our sponsors.
Mudgear, use code ADVENTURE for 15% off your next Mudgear purchase. Caterpie, use code OCRReport20 for 20% off your next Caterpie purchase. And for your next Spartan Deca or Tough Mudder event, use OCR Report 20 for 20% off your next Spartan Deca or Tough Mudder event.
Nailed it. All right. And let's give a shout out to the $5+ Patreon supporters.
Jason Dupree, Samantha Thompson, Bradley Keel, Charlotte Engelman, Aaron Grindstaff, Cheryl Miller, Laura and Stephen Ritter, Hank and Arlene Stefano, Jessica Johnson, Christopher Hoover, Kevin Gregory Jr., Evan Irick, Brent George, Logan Nagel, Asa Connington, Seth Renderkanesh, and Steve Bacon.
Representing
New England OCR Expo.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining. I think we already added them to the Facebook group. So you get behind the scenes look at all the fun things. So greatly appreciate it. Especially since the big news for the November Patreon video. Moving on.
I don't know if anybody's watched that video.
They are missing out.
That
It's big news. We're not talking about it this week. It's next week.
No, I know, but
okay.
I'm just saying, I did all the legwork. What did you do? Nothing.
Oh, it was so nice. Well, I had to, do fast forward. I had to do some editing.
Okay, I couldn't speed it up on my phone.
No, I know, but that made it so much easier, because what did you do for the other 99% of
I was the star of the show.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's not easy being me.
And a shout out to the OCR Report for being a great home for us on the internet.
And to Will Hicks.
The Podfather. Check it out over at theocrreport.com. I need to get caught up on the group text. And Caitlin just found out that there was a group text that she wasn't a part of.
Yeah, there was a secret group chat that I was the only one not included in.
Pretty much. It was called... The worst thing was they changed the title before you saw you weren't in it. Because it was World's Toughest Mudder 2014.
2024.
Oh yeah, Jesus, what year am I in? And then by the time you saw it, it's 2025. So yeah, that looked damning. Did they respond to that?
Fran responded and said it was all Jack's fault.
That's fair. You haven't met Fran or Carlo or Dustin or Jack? Oh no, you met Jack briefly.
Jack.
But I'm pretty sure they're going to like you better than me already.
I think Fran already likes me better than everybody in that group message. Those are fighting words. I will fight people.
That is actually very... Dustin's in that group text.
No, he's not.
Oh, okay, fair. Moving on to our sponsored athletes.
Javier Escobar, Kelly Sullivan, Ryan Brizzalara, Joshua Reed, and Kevin Gregory.
I thought I updated these. Oh, yeah, I did. Ryan Brizzalara, so he took on the Savage Race Series. OCR reports planning to get a final standings post up. And Joshua Reed is dealing with a client who is falling apart. And then Kevin Gregory, who's gearing up for DECA World Championships. Poll results. I forgot. Caitlin did a poll.
I always forget how to find them.
So what? The thing is, you gotta hit... Archive. In the middle of the
Hey, I
street.
said, how are you traveling this Thanksgiving? 53% of people said no traveling for me. 31% of people said vehicle. And 16% of people said the aeroplane.
I like the way that you said those two words.
I'm feeling silly.
Yeah. And meme of the week, we're going to skip. We're going to head on over right to quick news, starting with Obstacle Wonderland found their co-race director.
That's awesome.
Right, Kevin LaPlatney posted, excited to team up with Obstacle Wonderland as their co-race director for their Spicy Spring event next April. Can't wait to work with Gabe. Oh, I nailed it last week. Capobianchi on building their biggest and best event to date. And I plan to be there, so... I haven't finalized it yet, but yeah, it'd be nice if I could get there again. Next news story, Caitlin?
Joseph Smith, the non-Mormon, posted...
Joseph Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he said Spit. Something.
Joseph Smith.
Yeah, I think he's still in the OCR community. I haven't seen him in a while.
Okay, but he posted, oh, come on.
Yep.
It is with such great sadness and the heaviest of broken hearts to say that little Boher, aka the bestest boy, had made his journey across the Rainbow Bridge. Boher was a schnoodle born on 9/9/11 in North Carolina and blessed their lives for 13 wonderful years. Though he's not always on his best behavior when it came to strangers, he was without a doubt filled with more love than his little body can hold when it came to his family. He loved his toys, sleeps in the sun, walks playing in the snow, kisses Mr. Duck, belly rubs, and his Labrador sister Winnie. More than anything, his family.
Yeah. So our thoughts go out to him. Moving on, we have a news story that came to us from Meg Jacoby, who posted, some of you have been wondering why I didn't line up for the Hong Kong Major today. It's now time that I share. A week post-Amsterdam, I suffered from a severe disc herniation in my lumbar spine. I had a great week of training, PRing my 10K, 12K row, and tying my 2K ski PR. Trying? I imagine. Then out of nowhere the next day, I had pain radiating down my leg. I couldn't run a single step, couldn't do anything lower body unless body weight or wall balls, and had to significantly modify my training. And then she goes on about how she had disc surgery at 25. She's been super happy since. The pain's come back. And I read this, as I posted, reading this from an urgent care waiting room for my back issues, hoping for a solid recovery so you can get back out there crushing it. So, might be very similar to what I'm dealing with. It's to a different extent because she's an elite athlete. But hey, walking is fun, and not being in pain is great. Man, I get the whole phrase, youth is wasted on the young, because like, when you're sick, you appreciate being healthy. Then when you're healthy, we're idiots and we forget how appreciative we should be. When you're in pain from sitting, standing, kneeling, squatting, I was doing every body. The only thing that didn't hurt was, what was I doing? Dead hangs. Dead hangs didn't hurt. This next news story I saw from OCR Buddy.
Rachel-Ann Schroeder posted in the OCR World Championship Facebook post saying, "It is the post I hoped I'd never be posting and swore if I ever did that I would not cry, but here I am doing both. About 11 years ago, I met Adrian Bijanata at a Battle Frog race where he was giving away qualifier shirts for a new event he was working on. We only talked a short while that day, but when I got home, I emailed him straight away. He was looking for help and I wanted in."
Kind of fast forward to the important part. I just read the comments from OCR Buddy then.
"After nearly 11 years, November 30th will be my last day in service and in the service of the OCR World Championship. Fran Chirando will stay on and Chirando will stay on. And as you have been ever since the day she joined us, you are in the most wonderful hands with her."
Yeah, so losing one of the few remaining pieces of the original OCRWC, which is a bit of a bummer. So that's news there too. We wish her the best. Next up, registration is open for the Fit Challenge. Yes, they're coming back. I knew about this. I did not know that they were going back to Diamond Hill. So yeah, they'll be back at Diamond Hill on April 5th. And make sure you come by the New England OCR Expo after. That'd be great.
Earn special medals. This comes from Spartan Race UK and Spartan Austria. Mixed age heats across 10 age categories with awards and podiums for the top 3 finishers in each group for age group.
So it's basically the new medals are out. That's what the news story was. Yeah, so go and click that. For the full news stories, go and check those down below. But now we're going to get to podiums, and I saw that they posted even more, so I'm going to hand this off to Caitlin.
For the South Carolina Sprint for men. Super? I knew that. It's blue.
Because it's, yeah.
Is it a different font?
No.
In third place, Alex Hagen-Weiss.
Friend of the show.
Second place, Micah Dorfner. And in first place, Kevin Thompson.
Also a friend of the show, who I believe just got married World Service Medal weekend. Congratulations to him.
What a great weekend to get married. For the women, in third place, Kristen Overcash. In second place, Luisa Fernianaha. And in first place, Chris Swafford. And for the Spartan NorCal Sprint, in third place, Jeff Shady. In second place, John Howard III. And in first place, Derek York. And for the women, in third place, Andrea Koala. In second place, Sarah Wolf. And in first place, Ashley Heller. And for the Spartan Fiji Ultra, in third place, Michael Butrero. In second place, Apollo Chernik. And in first place, Damar Akahamadivaya. Akhmedidov.
Yep.
And for the women...
like the peanut butter.
And like the thing on the computer.
Oh no, that's a GIF. Not GIF, because it's graphical user interface. It's not graphical. Continue.
Potato. Or potato. No, what's your grandmother saying?
Potato.
And for the women, Fuji Ultra, in third place, Melissa Benoski. In second place, Ashley Peterson. And in first place, Yara Alves.
And I didn't see that these ones were posted, so we have even more.
And for the Phoenix Beast, in third place, Noah Reed. In second place, Jeff Shady. And in first place, Jonathan Stern. And for the women, in third place, Sasha Brown. In second place, Chloe Milligan. And in first place, Rachel Muniz. And for the San Antonio Super, in third place, Olari Livingston. In second place, Josh Champ. And in first place, Landon Price. And for the women, in third place, Sam Blocher. In second place, Monica Johnston. And in first place, Joanna Emeth. And for the...
I know there's a lot.
And for the San Antonio Sprint for the men, in third place, Joshua Gonzalez. In second place, Joshua Champ. And in first place, Joshua Ruiz.
Nope, Lazaro Ruiz.
I know, I was making a joke.
Oh, gotcha.
In third place for the women, Aubrey Mahelikim. In second place, Amelia Nickerson. And in first place, Andrea Laportari.
Yeah, lots of A's. Yeah, lots of A's and lots of Joshua's. Oh my god, there's
and
more.
For the Phoenix Super, for the men, in third place, Luis Rogo. In second place, Jeff Shady. And in first place, Jonathan Stern. And for the women, in third place, Sasha Brown. In second place, Rachel Muniz. And in first place, Chloe Milkillian.
One more we can do it.
For the Alpha Challenge, in
Wanaka, New Zealand.
In third place, Taryn Butler. In second place, Hania Atkinson. Atkin. And in first place, Sam Buell. And for the men, in third place, Gareth Moore. In second place, James Crowther. And in first place, Nathan Edwards. Holy smokes.
Yeah, that wraps up all the news stories. The secret links, 5 of them down below. Long, quick news for a long episode. So let's get to what this episode is all about. So, World Service Motor Part 3. This is all the Monday Brunch interviews and audio. So before the presentation, you'll hear from Serina Espey-Wolf, Nikki Perry, Scott the Fayne Knowles, and Michael Roberson, Scott Lemos, Noel Medina, Tyler Veerman and Mark Gaudet, Mike Ronemus and Kevin LaPlatney, Karl Bonefas and Adam Kuskos, Will Chung, Felicia Lopez, Michael Schjott, Charlie Boher, Grant Thompson, Megan Beck, Kevin Anderson, John Castle, Jamie Scott, Lucas, Kevin Praytor, and Francis Lackner. That's 1 hour and 27 minutes. Ooh boy. For the brunch presentation, I edited it down to 52 minutes. Feel free to skip that if you don't want to. Listen, it's just a fun way to listen to everything that happened, just minus a whole bunch of clapping. After presentation interviews with Team Hawkeyes, Evert Surs, Scotty Campbell, Hallee Milot, Tyler Movsesian, Nikki Karamba, and Mappy Davis, and there's 30 minutes of that. And I felt like I was off my A game during this, because on the way to brunch, I found out that my cousin died, which was a bit of a bummer. But she's been dealing with Alzheimer's for like 5,
Is she
6
your
years.
cousin? That's not the right relationship.
She's my cousin. We call her Aunt Karen, Auntie Karen, which is annoying because I have an actual Aunt Karen.
Wait, no, she's your grandmother's cousin.
So she's my cousin, right? I'm related to her somehow.
I
When
think
in doubt,
she's
it's
like your
like a
third
great
cousin.
aunt or something. Anyway, so wicked bummer. She was the one that kind of got me into photography back in the day. Always supported me with video games, and she worked at Blockbuster, and just no longer suffering. So that's good. So that was on the way to that. And then mid-brunch, I think you can hear it a little bit in the audio, I got a call from Caitlin. Well, actually, Carlo said, hey, your wife's trying to call you. Can you call her back? And then you alerted me that Appa was having a stroke or a seizure, in which case, no, he just pinched a nerve. So I had a lot of things on my mind
in
trying to do these
fairness,
interviews.
he had a very dramatic reaction.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he just toppled over, like, belly up, and I thought he was dying.
Yeah, so there was a lot going on that day. So I thought I was off my A game, but yet again, I did like 2 hours of interviews, so I did something right. Hope you guys appreciate this. It's a long one. Sorry it's late, but yeah, enjoy.
I appreciate it.
We'll start with your name and where you're from.
Serina Espey-Wolf, known as Mama Manowar from Minnesota.
How did your World Service Moto go?
It was awesome. I was at EST the entire time, handing out hugs and high fives. It was great.
Yeah. How was it being at that obstacle?
Wonderful. When I got towards the end of the shift, I felt like I was in a wet t-shirt contest from all the wet hugs coming through.
Right. And then it was interesting seeing that obstacle used because most people just crawled under it, right?
Yes, there was a few that went through it. Started walking through it, but they fell down and finished crawling. Some ran through it. Then there's Wild Man who went through it, and they went backwards, and went forward and backwards and forwards on his last lap.
Some people just crazy.
Oh yes.
Did you see anybody get like shocked hard, or did it seem like relatively turned down low?
It was not that fired up as I've seen in past years.
Yeah.
And a lot of people did burpee out, though, I have to admit to that.
That's pretty interesting because like crawling through didn't seem like the worst. Do you know how many burpees the penalty was?
It was 30 burpees that had to have a push-up in it. Some people are like kind of floored that they had to do a push-up in their burpee.
That's a lot. That's a big penalty for somewhat easy obstacle. I guess if some people had some, like a pacemaker and stuff, that would make sense though, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So you're out there volunteering for 24 hours.
I was a 30-hour volunteer.
30-hour volunteer. It looked like it was rough for you for the majority of the time. Are you going to keep doing these long shifts?
As long as my son keeps running them, I'll keep volunteering them.
Okay. How did your son do?
Not as good as planned because his knee was bugging him and he felt like it was giving out. So he got his 30 and he finished and he completed as a 24-hour thing, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, just staying out there, that's huge. And just thoughts on the World Service Moto community?
I love it. It's better than my immediate family.
Yeah, love it. All right, well, great seeing you.
You betcha. Thank you.
Nikki Perry from Connecticut.
How did World Service Moto go for you?
Fabulous. We had 5 runners in our pit. Everyone got 75, between 65 and 75. 4 runners with 75 and 1 with 65.
Awesome. How was it managing heat and hydration for this year?
Definitely, everybody went out pretty hot on the first lap. I guess that's why they call it that. And by the second lap, they were, you could tell, faces, red faces, and all these guys are heat trained, so you could tell it was going to take a toll, so we tried to get them to slow down a little bit. And we were definitely pushing the electrolytes. Most of my runners, all of my runners actually have run it numerous times, so they knew that they were going to have to keep up with it. So it really wasn't much of a struggle. Later on, obviously, when their digestive system starts to slow down, getting them to eat was a struggle. Actually, I will say whoever in the not the orphan tent, the hospitality tent decided to put the little mini packages of graham crackers, the little Nabisco graham crackers, those were really universally well liked by the runners, because rather than like a saltine cracker, which is really hard to swallow, those graham crackers were clutch. They were easy to swallow, just a little bit sweet, and gave them at least a little something. There wasn't much, but once they started being able to eat those, they were able to take something else along with them. So, I mean, having that massive quick pit area, we were right on the line, so that was huge for us. It was huge for our runners. They knew exactly where we were. There was no jockeying for position because there was so much space for everybody to do that. So I think that really, really helped. And people weren't like posting up there all night. They were really making sure they weren't just sitting there all night because other people needed to be able to use the space. So having that massive quick pit space, I think, was huge for everybody, not just for us.
And then pitting for 5 people too. Were there any obstacles that were coming up frequently as complaints?
Oh, definitely pyramid squeeze. Absolutely. Pyramid squeeze was tough, but I ran the 5K in the morning and there weren't ropes on it. So I sort of said, you're going to want to use your bands for that because that's really going to be a time suck. But then I found out later on they put ropes. It was still a time suck and it was still a drainer. But I think having the ropes there made it a little bit easier maybe. So people were definitely using their bands for that. And I think for Shawshanked. Okay. Yeah.
And then how many World's Toughest Mudders is this for you now?
Oh, this is my 8th or 9th attending. I think I've run, 6 or 7. I'm not sure.
And then what are your thoughts on it going to Belvoir Castle next year in England? I'm
a little sad because I think that distance will make it hard for me and certainly for my runners that I pitted for this year to be able to attend. And I get why the change. It's a beautiful venue, right? So I'm torn. And
then the final thoughts on how World's Toughest Mudder went in Florida.
Oh, I think it was great. I think they needed more porta potties. I mean, normally at Worlds there's always plenty, but it was almost like they maybe didn't have enough. They did enough for the day venue for the 5Ks, but we definitely could have used some more porta potties. They were really disgusting. Yeah, it was really, really disgusting. People were not even using them later on, which was even worse. Right. I mean, hey, it happens. It's a race like this. We're all used to it. But I think it was the course layout was great. The pits were very well organized. I'm always in awe at TMHQ for how they always manage to pull these things off. I know there's always hiccups, but I'm always appreciative.
They weren't as easily seen this year.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I wasn't out on course, so I didn't hear a lot of complaints about volunteers not like enforcing penalties correctly or anything like that. So maybe other people have a different opinion, but my runners were perfectly happy with how everything was going, and I'm really pleased with the mileage that people put up, even with the conditions. I know the course was relatively flat and all that, but I'm really happy to see so many 50 and 75 bibs. It's awesome.
Well, happy to see you, and thanks for doing what you're doing for the pit crew.
Yeah, awesome. Nice to see you.
I'm Scott the Fayne Knowles from I'm a Spartan Podcast, and I'm from Tifton, Georgia, goddammit.
I'm Michael Roberson, Ackworth, Georgia.
How did World's Toughest Mudder go for you this year?
It went really good. I'm dealing with an injury. My goal was a 50K, and I got to the 30-mile point and started getting super sore, made it to 35, and took like a 4-hour break, and then just walked the last 3 laps and got 50 miles, so I'm super stoked about that. It was a good course. Some of the obstacles were annoying as hell, but hey, that's World's Toughest Mudder.
We'll get to that in a bit. How did it treat you?
Mine was a shit show. It treated me like a redheaded stepchild. I have a bionic foot. Scott Lemos grabbed my taint. I have a bionic foot, and it did not act right on me. And about mile 15, started taking a shit, and I was able to get my 30 miles. So it is what it is, and you go on about it. So,
what were the obstacles that pissed you off the most out there?
Probably the pyramid scheme was pyramid squeeze. It was super difficult if you got there by yourself. Yeah. And like some people weren't considerate and they dropped the end of the net down on you as you would come out of the top, and that was annoying.
So I could hear that net fall on the thing. That's a heavy ass net, especially with everyone getting wet.
It was
making
rough.
That net heavier.
But to me, with my injury, like most of the walls, like anything I had to swing my leg over, that was the worst. And people were like, like calling me a show off because I was like jumping over the lumberjack ones, the best I could.
Right.
And I was like, it's just less painful for my leg to do that. But, the sand, like probably the most annoying one really was the sand net. Like, because the sand got in your eyes. I was like Anakin Skywalker out there looking for sand people to butcher.
Andy Davis is trying to make everyone call it Tatooine. He's pushing for that. What obstacles did you hate the most?
The sand, period. The sand. And having to fucking be with Scott the whole time. Took a lot of effort, and I pulled through.
Bitch, you slept half the fucking race.
It wasn't half, maybe a third.
I so badly wanted to take a selfie because I heard you were passed out. I'm like, I'm going to go and take a selfie. But you said you didn't sleep as much as you thought. You just had to, take a
I slept, probably maybe 30 minutes, but I laid there for, 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I was like, the music wasn't keeping me awake. It was Sean and Clinton just saying the most random, stupidest shit.
Yes.
And I learned that the first Kentucky Fried Chicken was in Utah.
which doesn't make any sense.
And I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm not sleeping, so I might as well get up and go piss, which was probably the best thing because I realized that I could move again. And I was like, well, shit, I might as well just get up and go run. So thanks, Sean and Clinton, for annoying us enough to get up and go for some more laps.
That's kind of what they do. That's why they do what they do. What obstacles did you enjoy the most?
I actually enjoyed the Arctic Enema.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
so many people are skipping that.
My foot hurt so bad when I got in the water and I got out. I was like, hey, I don't feel any pain in my foot.
Right.
So, and I tend to overheat anyway during races. Yeah. So the what's the fucking crybaby or what is it called this time with the gas? I didn't mind that one because it made you feel cool. Felt like it cooled me off. Yeah. So yeah, anytime I'm like a fucking dog, man. We do any trail races. I see a stream, creek, I'm in it. So
drinking.
I didn't mind the Arctic Enema. So yeah.
Wrapping up, final thoughts on World Service Moto this year.
It was great. I enjoyed it. I wish I would have been healthy so I could try to get more miles. Super fucking awesome that my boy Brian Beal got 100 and my boy Corey Edwards got 75. They're fucking badasses.
Awesome. And final thoughts?
Loved it, man. Loved the venue, volunteers. They put on a good show, and hey, man, had great weather, so can't complain.
Good seeing you.
All right, bud.
Scott Lemos from Charlotte, North Carolina.
How did your World Service Moto go?
It was good. Didn't have the race that I wanted, but that stuff happens, and it was my fifth. And, very fortunate to be able to say that, hey, I finished the whole race.
What did you get for miles?
50 exactly.
Okay.
I got to 50 and I stopped. I had some time left out there, but I'd had enough. I just had enough.
Before recording, you said something about the toughness of the course. It was very clear that the obstacles were scaled down this year. Yes. What did you think?
Oh, absolutely. Very, compared to past races, past innovations, for instance, Mutterhorn was only about 2/3 the height that it normally is, and just other things. It's just usually they throw in like Augustus Gloop, something else like that to really, to get you wet, to keep you wet, to really, it's world's toughest. Right. It's not, the obstacle's going to be tough. The terrain's going to be tough. Fuck that sand. Yeah. That sand was an obstacle in of itself. So maybe that was their equalizer, but yeah.
I think between that and the heat, it was a little bit of an equalizer, but we did still see more people hit 100 miles than ever before too. What are some additions that you would have seen like to come back this year?
I love. Sorry, I only know it as King of Swingers. Yep. What was that one called?
King of Swingers. Yeah.
King of Swingers. Yeah, I love.
Well Swung was a small version.
Well Swung. Yeah. I bring that back. That is just such an awesome obstacle to do and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the fact that it was like the small. It was less than 600 people I think this year too, so it didn't make much money, and then that extra build is like plus a couple tens of thousands more dollars.
Plus, I love the obstacles that there's an element of chance to it, like when they had Electric Avenue, where you can sort of choose your own poison, or roll the dice when your obstacle depended on what that was a Vegas.
They did
obstacle.
that for Vegas.
But still, I think you can bring some of the creativity for that into another race. Yeah. Fucking it's Florida. They like gambling here.
Yeah, I wish they added some more Florida flavor, because there wasn't anything that felt very Floridian about it, other than seeing the alligators in course.
Oh, that was awesome.
How many of those did you see?
At least 2 at night, okay. and I think probably the same 2. They were definitely looking to see which one of us was the slow runner. So I kept thinking, I was like, you know, Joey's a good friend of mine. I'm like, man, I hope more heart than scars. You know, they speed up to this zone because those gators might want to take a bite out of them.
Absolutely. And thoughts on it moving to Beaver Castle in England next year?
I think it's awesome. Again, world's toughest mudder. It can't just be about America. You know, same thing with OCR World Championship and all that. You know, it can't always be here. We got to be willing to go there.
Awesome. Well, good talking to you, and congratulations on 50.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
JD Allen from Atlanta, Georgia. Well, I'm from Detroit. I live in Atlanta.
About that. How did World's Toughest Mudder go for you this year?
I think this is my answer every time. I think back to like Will interviewing me or Matt. It was really hard. Yeah. It's always been really hard. It was exceptionally hard for me this year because of the heat. Yeah. The course was made like for me to get a lot of mileage. You know, and I've passed on 75s, but I was thinking 65.
Yeah.
I ended up with 50, but I was dead in the water like with 5 laps. I've done 25. Yeah. I was text messaging my coach, Allison Ty, saying, I want to quit. I don't want to do this anymore. And she's like frantically texting me back, no, you need to roll out your calves, roll out. She sent other people over. Molly, Scott Sebastian's wife, Molly.
Yeah.
She sent her over to check on me, which was awesome. And then they got me some other food and stuff. And I recovered, but still was taking extremely long pit stops.
Yeah.
I was cramping like crazy. Yeah. And that's what led to me wanting to stop it.
Right.
I was cramping like crazy, so I'd get up an obstacle and like my calves and my hamstring would cramp on one side, and then my shin and my quad would cramp on this side. I'd have to lay at the top of like the walls.
Yeah.
And people come by and say, you okay? You okay? Like, yeah, there's nothing you can do for me.
Right.
I'm talking a lot. I'm sorry. I don't know where I'm going.
This is the point of that. You gotta be talking for this, but I think both. The sand was a big factor too.
Can I just say I love Michael? I love Michael and JD Allen.
Yeah. Are you coming to the Bark Bro?
I'm not. I'm getting on a plane, and the sand is called Tatooine.
Yes. We'll talk later, Matt.
Hey, that's Matt Davis. He's my good friend.
But how did the sand treat you in terms of cramping? Because I know that's something that would have bothered me. Is like.
Oh, so I was saying the course was made for.
Yeah.
I mean, the obstacles were relatively easy. At least they're ones that were in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of areas where you could really run.
Yeah.
But there's the sand, and that slowed you down and wiped you out.
Yeah.
And but even with that, even with the sand, if it wasn't for the temperatures, I think I would have done better.
Yeah.
I excel in the cold.
Okay, yeah.
Like I like at cold events, like in Atlanta or even in Las Vegas, when there's nobody on the course because they're all in their pits and their warm sweats and stuff, and I'm still going.
Yep.
You know, sometimes just who's still out there, right? Who gets the big numbers.
Yeah.
But this year is the other way around. I couldn't do it. The people who could survive the heat got good numbers because that course was made to be fast, except for the sand. Which sucks.
What obstacles any obstacles that you enjoyed out there despite the cramping?
Yeah, everything that is upper body or grip, I did great on, and they didn't cause me cramping.
Okay.
So, well swung. I missed it the first time, then just kept hitting it, getting it. And then the last time, my last lap, I wanted to do all of the grip obstacles that lap, just because that was my last one. But I missed the handle. I caught the end of the handle, which is sharp.
Yeah.
And it cut my hand up. It's not really that bad, but at the time, it really stung. And it made it so I couldn't extend out and get the bell.
Yeah.
You know, just the tip I was able to do all day, all night.
Nice.
What do you think? Funky Monkey, I hit a few times, and I missed it a few times. What I like is when I miss an obstacle, maybe a couple times, then keep trying it, you know, when other people are just jumping in the water.
Yep.
And then I can do it. Yeah. And that is awesome. And then I act like I'm world champion, and I'm hands in the air, and I expect the volunteers to be extremely happy for me who are there. And they often are. They're awesome, volunteers.
Something that didn't seem like the obstacle wasn't difficult, but the sandbag carry with all that.
That puts you in walking in the sand more with a little bit of weight.
Yes.
First of all, I'm sorry. I don't want to be critical of people, but obviously, yes, I do because I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
It's called World's Toughest Mudder. Yeah. There might be some sandbags that are empty or barely have any sand in them.
Yeah.
You don't have to take the biggest, baddest sandbag that they have, but don't take the empty one and carry it around the course. You're probably awesome. You probably got a lot more miles than me. You're probably a much better athlete than me.
Right.
But take a sandbag.
I agree with you. I think part of that is on athletes, not to gatekeep, but kind of. And then Thoughts on it going to Beaver Castle next year?
I don't know if I ever want to do World's Toughest again, but I've felt that way before.
Right.
My wife wants to go. She wants to go and take our, it'll be 16 and 13-year-old.
Okay.
And that would be awesome. I don't know.
And not to state the obvious, but like, there's other ways to enjoy it too. You don't always have to run it. Hitting is an experience. Volunteering is an experience. Yeah.
Right. And that's a conversation I want to have people. What do you do when it's over? Right? Like, you haven't competed for the last few years. You know, like Will and Matt, they haven't competed in the last few years. They had you guys have other things to fall back on. Right? And still be part of the experience.
Sure.
You know, that's something I have to think about. I know there's guys older than me who do fantastic, but that might not be me.
Yeah.
And
comparison can sometimes.
And I don't know if I'd be okay just going out and get 25 miles. Maybe I would.
Right.
But I love the experience. I love being here. I love the people. I love you. I love seeing you. It's so like that first time I saw you on Friday at Pit Setup was awesome, right? And it's like that for so many people that you see. And the atmosphere is great, and I do like the obstacles. I would say but what happens when you're done with it, right?
Right. I would say the nice thing is you have a year to think about it, but you have less than a year to think about it because it's in June now.
My wife's been looking for flights already.
Oh, right.
Like the last few weeks, she's been looking for flights.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and she was here, but then she left, and she's texting me, and I'm like, we have to talk about that trip. Let's talk about that trip in a few days.
Right.
There's been many races that I finished. I used to do triathlons, and she'd be at the finish line. I'd sprint across the finish line and throw up or whatever, and then be like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. And she'd be like, yeah, right. The first time in 2014, I came out and I did like what you were doing for Matt, and I interviewed people, took a lot of pictures, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But I went home and I told my wife, that seems like too much of a hassle. I'm never gonna do that. And she's like, okay, right. And then like a couple days later, I'm looking for wetsuits on eBay.
Okay,
on eBay first. That's how I started eBay.
That was very like proud of that. Back in the day.
It's Carlo, one of the OCI Report superstars.
James Douglas Allen,
He kissed
the
me.
pride of Detroit, Michigan.
Not at all.
Him and Jack White. That's all that comes out of Michigan. We don't talk about Kid Rock.
My shirt actually says Detroit Pride.
No, okay. But yeah, I remember Matthew Davis being very proud that like everyone that worked for him at World Surface Mudder ran the next year. And I know you were one of them too.
Yeah, there's a great lineage that went. And included, I'm going to draw blanks on people's names. But Haruko, Catherine, your buddy who used to do a podcast. That might even not be the right first name.
Heather Bowie.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Her middle name might be Catherine.
I think so. You're right. I was about to say her, then you said Catherine, and then the name completely escaped.
But it was a great. I think that Scott Sebastian may have done some work for Matt at some point. But it's a great line.
Yeah.
And I don't think he broadcasted the same way. He didn't cover it the same way that he has in the past. He did a lot of pit crewing. He's very good pit crew.
Yeah.
I watched videos from the past when he wasn't pit crewing, but I was having a hard time one year when Keith Allen, no relationship, was pit crewing for me, and I was having a hard time, and Matt came in, and I just watched the video of that, and just what he said to me, I was like, I didn't remember it being so good, but it obviously had affected me because I got up and left the tent.
He took a lot of credit for helping me at my World Surface Mudder 2018. And he did help me, but he made it sound like I was going to quit. I was never going to fucking quit. I was just waiting for my hands to not be sausages anymore. But
if it ever comes up, I got your back.
Just temper the a little bit. But great seeing you, and hope to see you in England. But if not, we'll see you again.
Yeah, all right. This is super fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Love you.
Noel, Medina, Jacksonville, Florida.
How was your first World Surface Mudder?
Ah, man, I don't even know yet. It was good. It was fun. I would like to do it again soon.
Okay, all right. And then what'd you do for mileage goals out there?
75. It's kind of funny because I was telling everybody, I'm going to get 80. I'm going to get 85. And then I very quickly learned I was not going to get those.
I saw some videos of you in the pit, and you're like, I'm not sure if I'm sandbagging this and that. And I saw you were sitting down. I'm like, oh shit, you never sit down in the pit. You got to get your ass back out there. How long were you out there in the course, or how long did you stay in the pit?
Yeah, I think I sat in there from like 11 to 1 in the morning, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do in terms of nutrition and stuff, and I didn't want to hurt myself.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with how I did that.
Yeah. And you still got 75, which is a pretty sweet time for your first time.
I'm stoked for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a tough 75. I mean, I know what I could have done better, but again, I mean, it was my first time, and I just had a good time doing it.
Yeah. What did you like for obstacles out there? What did you enjoy the most?
Oh, dude, those obstacles were pretty fun. Yeah, I mean, they had the one with what, like icy hot, smoking out the thing.
Yeah, crybaby. Yeah.
That was wild, dude. It took me maybe 3 laps before I just got smooth with working the edges better. Anyways, yeah. Yeah.
What about for obstacles that you hated seeing out in the course?
Man, okay, none of them I hated, right? But you know what really sucked was the one under the barbed wire, crawling through the tube to fall in the water.
Shawshanks. Yeah, that doesn't come up enough. That's a tough one.
Like,
You never get comfortable with that fall. It's a weird one to do.
Thank you. Yeah, every time I hit, it's like a concussion. I couldn't figure it out. Or another time, I tried to keep my legs in there a little longer, and I ended up scraping like the back of my ankles. I'm like, jeez, I can't get this thing right, man.
Yeah, no, that's everybody. I was talking to the volunteer out there because I walked the course and interviewed all the volunteers, and he was saying that's what he loves about the obstacle. You can get used to certain obstacles. You can find certain lanes that are better, but that one just sucks.
Yeah. I mean, those and that obstacle and quite a few others were good back scratchers and body scrapers. Yeah.
Death by 1,000 cuts. But what advice would you give to someone also thinking about doing this for the first time?
Eat and drink, man. Like a lot. And keep moving. I mean, I wouldn't suggest somebody taking a 2-hour break, but I mean, again, it's your race, so do what you do. As long as you're eating and drinking and enjoying yourself, man. That's all you got to do.
And thoughts about this going to Belvoir Castle in England? Any interest?
I would like to go to that. If anybody wants to help me out, the sweat check will be over there in England for sure.
All right. And then quick plug for the Ultra House.
Hey, my boy Anthony Kunkel, Ultra House in Durango, Colorado. I've been there since April, or since May. So I've been on a back-to-back races in the past couple months. And might have some other races coming up. We'll see how the body feels. But yeah, man. There was some. I know DJ was there too. DJ Fox. He's also he trained at the Ultra House, so it was cool seeing him and seeing his guys be successful. And I mean, it's just a bunch of crazy athletes, man. It really is.
Well, great seeing you out there, and congratulations on hitting 75.
Heck yeah, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Tyler Veerman, Morrison, Colorado.
Mark Gaudet, Fort Knox, Kentucky.
How was World Toughest Mudder this year as a team?
Really fun. I enjoyed kind of the breakup of running, it's kind of different strategizing things. And it's really great just kind of being held accountable, That's really something I needed in this race.
I would say definitely more enjoyable than running solo. There's a team aspect, you don't want to let your partner down, so you kind of find that extra gear. And then you can just be a lot smarter about, more intentional with your hydration, your nutrition, and then just the way our body feels today. I remember how I felt after Atmore and Atlanta, and you're shuffling in here in a lot of pain. And Tyler and I both feel great today. Like we could both go for a run if we wanted to right now. So I really appreciate that side of it as well.
That must be nice. Not something you typically get after doing it solo, that's for sure. What did you think about the course, the weather, everything about World Toughest Mudder this year?
I really enjoyed the warmer weather. I mean, water obstacles didn't seem that bad. Arctic Enema seemed colder, either because of the difference, and the warmer. So I don't know what that was, but the obstacles themselves were not that bad. Felt like we could get through most of them with not as much effort. Like it didn't take as much time. There were some that I just did not enjoy. Like I just felt a little claustrophobic, but. It was a good setup what they had. I enjoyed it.
What do you think about the course this year?
So the course is great. I thought it was really fast, minus the half mile in the sand. The biggest takeaway I had was the amount of crawling / barbed wire obstacles where you're down just like baby crawling, rolling, and it really took a toll on our, your hands and your knees, and on top of every obstacle was a layer of sand, which just kind of worked over your forearms as you climb over obstacles. So I think the body took a toll just crawling around so much, and we didn't have the wetsuit kind of there as that added protection. So like today we got these abrasions on our forearms, and the knees are extremely tender just from all the crawling.
Yeah. And then you talked about being held accountable. Last year, it looked like you kind of like you mentally checked out a little bit. So how did it feel to kind of get revenge for yourself?
I mean, absolutely fantastic. You know, it's just having that feeling like you don't want to let this person down. You know, you're not doing this like mostly for yourself. Like you want both of you to succeed. I don't really get that kind of experience much in racing. You know, it's usually an individual sport. So just this different format is more exciting, you know, and it's a really good chance to test myself in kind of a different way. And, you know, I'm not thinking just for myself. It's great, you know. Good.
I was saying, like, it seems like I'm not an elite athlete, but I feel like it can be kind of isolating, the training, the competition. Obviously, you get to socialize after, but working as a team, it's very unique, and so it's cool to see that aspect. And then how did it feel having such an awesome pit crew?
Oh, it's great. You know, on one side, you know, I got my son, 11 years old, making his first appearance in the pit, which is awesome. Just kind of gives you that extra why. And just, you know, exposing him to the community, him getting to see some really tough people do some really tough stuff. It's awesome. And then the team aspect, you know, you have a built-in pit crew and a built-in cheering section when you're racing alongside someone, you know. So Tyler and I, you know, we're looking out for each other, but we also know exactly how the other one's feeling because we're going through the exact same thing. So as we had those discussions at the end of the race of like, hey, do we want to get that extra lap in there to get to 125? You know, I knew it was possible, but it was going to be on Tyler. So, you know, it wasn't like as easy as your pit being like, you need to get back out there and not truly understanding how you felt. Like I knew exactly how he felt. And, you know, I encouraged him, but it was ultimately his call. And, you know, Tyler just showed how tough he is at the end, going out there for that additional 5 miles solo before we did our 2 together. So it was pretty cool to do that alongside Tyler.
I know the format has changed a little bit too, but were we able to figure out, did you tie the record for team miles?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I didn't know what the record was for a while, and I thought it was like 115 or so.
The previous team, I was talking to Elliot, and they were nervous for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know if we could like time wise get like a faster time. I'm not sure. I don't know if they were under 24 hours or at, but you know, I think 130 could have possibly been. It could have been doable. I think within the night we were to make those moves because once that sun came up, you know, it was pretty hot, and increasing our pace, that would have been a little difficult at that point. So I think in the middle of the night, if we were to you know, focus on some faster laps, and I think it could have been possible, an extra lap or so, but it would have been down to the wire probably.
And then wrapping up, any final thoughts on the event and your partner with how he did?
I mean, I think the event, it was a pretty cool send-off from the States, you know, and I think there's a lot to look forward to next year going overseas because we saw such a strong contingent from Europe here on the States, but it's time. Like they deserve it over there. It's going to be a really unique experience. We're already kind of scheming if we're going to make the trip out there and run it back if there's a relay category again. So that's one thing to really look forward to. And then, you know, Tyler and I have a lot of history, you know, battling, you know, back and forth in a lot of these 24-hour events. And it was really neat to, you know, we're always cheering for each other regardless of the circumstances. But this time was special to do it shoulder to shoulder for 24 hours. And I think he like made that mental breakthrough. And so if he decides to go solo again, like he would be my favorite regardless of the field.
And final thoughts on the event and thoughts on how Mark did?
Well, I just want to say I'm glad I showed up for this, you know, and there's so many times where I said I wouldn't come back and I wouldn't do this. And, you know, I kind of, after last year, I kind of felt obligated to show up and prove myself. And, you know, I'm just really fortunate. Like I picked a good partner, someone that I've already pretty much done 24 hours with almost unofficially as a team. So it's great to have someone that was, you know, we're pretty much at the same level. Like, so I'm grateful for that. And yeah.
Well, congratulations, guys. It was great seeing you, and enjoy the rest of your brunch.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Mike Ronemus. I'm from Rockville Center, New York.
Kevin, the Mudman, LaPlatney, also from Long Island, New York.
How did World Service Motor go for you this year?
Pretty well. I mean, we had an idea of how many miles we wanted to get. We hit it. A little warmer than I would have liked, but, you know, didn't need a wetsuit, which is nice. Yeah, so pretty well.
We talked a couple weeks ago on the podcast, and I just kind of told you what my plan was to get 50, and the three of us that are all here together did that, so we're happy about it.
What did you think about the course in terms of the obstacles out there?
I mean, they were pretty standard fare for any Tough Mudder endurance event. It was basically like running, in my opinion, a 24-hour toughest. Same exact obstacles that we have seen a lot of times. A few variations that were weird in some cases, as always. A little more unpleasant in others. You know, Devil's Beard and sand is interesting. That thing with the slip wall and that net was horrendous. What was that called? Oh, jeez. Yeah, that was... Yeah. We figured out the technique, but it took a few laps.
Fair. Thoughts on the obstacles out there?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything that Mike just said. It kind of just did seem like kind of the typical Tough Mudder course. Nothing that was too crazy, hybrid, mixed, stepped-up levels that we've seen before in some past ones. But when you're doing it for 24 hours, everything gets harder, and, still happy about it.
And thoughts about it moving to Beaver Castle in England next year?
What's that? Oh, it's
moving to England next year.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I mean, I have Unbreakable, so it works there too. So, yeah. But I wonder about the weather there in June. Could be pretty chilly.
It sounds like it's going to be a lot more daylight, significantly more than here. Like I think only 5 hours of darkness around that time.
Yeah, because it's actually north of the latitude is probably on par with something in Canada. Yep. Yeah, we forget about that.
And just where it is in summer too. Like it's going to be longer days and everything. So that should be interesting. Any thoughts on going to Europe next year?
I won't completely rule it out, but the odds are a little less because it is kind of far now, especially for a lot of Americans. But you never know what'll happen. June sounds like it could be, a warm season like it was here this weekend.
Yeah.
So, to be determined.
Hopefully warm, but not too warm, because this was miserable, I thought. And then, any advice to people taking it on for the first time?
Like hell. What's that? Sorry.
Any thoughts for people taking it on for the first time?
Make sure you have a good loadout, plenty of hydration, and make sure, and organize yourself. Make sure you take something to eat and drink between every lap, or you will fade badly and start to cramp up and everything like that. I mean, I think we were lucky. We've done it enough that we managed to avoid cramps and all that type of thing. And once you cramp up in something like this, I think you're really in a world of pain and misery.
Sure. Any advice?
My friend Mike, and we also brought along another first-timer with us, Kelly. Mike and I are seasoned veterans of our second World's Toughest Mudder, but Kelly was her first time, so we kind of did prep her and give her some ideas along the way as we got closer. So, no, everything Mike said was right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, great job, guys.
Thank you very much.
My name's Karl Bonefas. I live in Denver, Colorado.
I'm Adam Kuskos, Houston, Texas.
How did World's Toughest Mudder go for you this year?
For mileage-wise, about as good as I could ever have hoped for. Definitely, goal was 50, got 75, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I can't complain. I got 65 this year. It's a PR for me. The weather was extremely hot. I'm from Houston, so it's what I train in every day. It doesn't make it easier. It's always, when it's a sauna like that, it's tough, and you gotta, stay on the electrolytes, get that salt intake in, and just keep moving.
What did you think about the obstacles out on course?
Definitely challenging. Some of them easier than others, obviously, but some of them, trying to think of them, Pyramid Squeeze was definitely the hard one. That's challenging, but Well Swung and Funky's Monkey too. I was just cooked whenever those started to open up. I could not be able to do them, but yeah, Pyramid Squeeze definitely was probably the most challenging, exhausting one out of everything that we did.
Yeah, Pyramid Squeeze, just depending on what you were wearing, if you were shirtless to start with, would just rip up your back. Yeah. So the abrasiveness of the ropes and the cargo net kind of sucked on that. Yeah. So a few laps in, I put a shirt on to try to help mitigate that, and that actually helped a decent amount. But you needed to have a bunch of people going through at the same time and kind of work together just to make sure when you got to the very top, that net was super heavy. So if somebody dropped it on you, you're in trouble.
It was ironic that when we ran the course Friday morning, and the rope on the descent was nice and smooth and nice, and the rope up there was not nice to people's backs. Yeah. That was a factor too. And then, what are your thoughts on moving to Beaver Castle next year?
I think it's good that they are doing an international world's toughest. I'm at least not going to go through that just because of expenses and stuff. But I think it's good. There's definitely I mean it's supposed to be worlds, right? So I think that's a good thing for sure.
Yeah, definitely. World stuff is Mutter. Having international always a good deal. I haven't decided if I'm going yet. Hopefully it's in the cards. We'll see. But I mean, it was in Texas last year. It was a quick drive away. I like traveling for it, so it's a good thing. I'm excited for it.
And then advice to someone that's thinking about taking on their first World Toughest Mudder.
Go into it with the game plan. Be smart about it. I think one of the biggest things that I think a lot of people have a problem with, that hot lap, people go way too quick on that. So definitely just obviously take it easy. And it's a 24-hour race. It's not a sprint. So that's probably the big thing I think a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah, I mean, the best advice I have is most people think of it as a running competition with eating. It's an eating competition with running in it, right? You have to be on top of your calories, especially like in a different race when it gets cold. If you're not having that calorie intake, your body can't do its job to keep yourself warm. Exact same thing when it's hot, right? If you're not on top of that, you're just going to deteriorate so quickly. Just be really on track with your nutrition, have a game plan, stick to it, and get those fluids in.
Well, congratulations on some solid mileage, and enjoy the brunch. Thank you.
Hey, my name's Will Chung. I'm from the UK.
How did World's Toughest Mudder go for you this year?
It went pretty well. I got 50. I broke my finger beforehand, so I didn't quite know exactly what was going to go on. You know what? I loved the venue. The weather was awesome, and it's kind of made me want to not do World's Toughest Mudder next year because I don't want to embrace that suck anymore. So I'm being spoiled. But no, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. And briefly touch on your background with Tough Mudder and World's Toughest Mudder.
So I'm a Legionnaire. I'm an ambassador. I've done 100 and something Tough Mudders. This is my third World's Toughest Mudder. I did Atlanta when it was cold, and then Florida, which wasn't Florida, when it kind of got it cold. Yeah. So I'm really happy that it got warm this time.
Yeah. What did you think about the course and everything?
I absolutely loved the course. A little bit undulating. I thought the views were amazing. Running around the lake was cool. I'm sure everyone's talked about the sand. That absolutely sucked. But, overall, I thought it was a perfect course.
Yeah. And what about the obstacles out there?
Obstacles were good. I really like the innovation of the lumberjacks and the carrying the sacks. Pyramid squeeze, I'm sure everyone's talked about that.
Oh, yeah. I don't think enough people are talking about how heavy that net.
Oh my God, especially if you did it on your own. So I think, as you may have seen, or as people may see, people are running to try and catch up with people to try and do the net as a group. Yeah. But if it was left to you on your own, it kind of pushed you down. It was that heavy. Yeah. It was ridiculously so. And I think the Mudderhorn, your guys' Mudderhorn, it seems to be steeper. And I don't know whether in your normal days you have the net over the top, but that was really pushed you down right at the top too. Yeah. So that was fun.
Speaking of that, the net for pyramid squeeze, I was walking the course doing interviews with the volunteers. I went to walk away and I hear bang, and I panic, think someone's just fallen. I need to help them, whatever. It turns out it was just the net hitting the wall.
Yeah. Absolutely, because it is obviously a tin wall, but it honestly it was so, and it's very difficult to describe, but heavy.
Yeah. Quick question, you have a pin on your collar. What's that?
Yeah, so in the UK we have Remembrance Sunday, so same as Veterans Weekends, and the way that we remember people is using the poppy.
Okay, yeah. And just final thoughts on this World Toughest Mudder coming to a wrap, going to Beaver Castle next?
So, I think you guys will love coming over to 2025 to Beaver Castle. Not only, of course, we have a castle. I mean, you guys don't have a castle. But
not any real one. Cheese Castle in Wisconsin.
The venue can hold anything. It can be anything. And I think this is a great time to innovate, do something different, and we're going to bring it. You guys are going to come over, are going to enjoy it, you're going to love it, and then you're going to be telling more people, hopefully, if it comes back at some point in the future, that you've got to come to the UK because it's just going to be something different.
So great seeing you and getting a great job out there last night.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks a lot.
Felicia Lopez, and I'm from Montana, Polson, Montana.
How did your race go?
It went well. Yeah, it was hard. Yeah.
So being from Montana, probably not as hot as this. How did the humidity and everything affect you?
It was hard. In Montana, it's cold right now, like 30s, 40s. So I was used to training in a lot of cold weather. But it actually was surprisingly nice as long as you were hydrated. I wore a hat, it had sunscreen, and then the water obstacles definitely helped. I actually enjoyed the weather. It was pretty good. And then nighttime, it was awesome.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
A little buggy, but pretty nice.
Oh yeah, I probably swallowed 20 bugs, and that's like not an exaggeration. And someone at my nose.
Quick protein. You know,
I thought about that every time. I kept, you just say this, yeah, right,
Don't say,
right.
well, like triple E, all that other stuff.
And then I kept saying, oh, that wasn't enough protein, and then I, would swallow some more.
And what do you think about the obstacles out there? Anything that you weren't looking forward to seeing?
The obstacles were great, actually. There's always a few that you're, like, when you run up on it, you're like, oh, and that was the net one, right? Yes, Pyramid Squeeze. Yeah, Pyramid Squeeze was pretty gnarly. And then, the ones that just take a long time, those ones you don't look forward to. That one takes a while. And for some reason this year, my biggest one that I was excited to do was Everest. Like running up and having them catch you. It's hard to do obstacles when you're solely reliant on someone helping you. It might be an ego thing, but that one was like probably a tough one for me just because of that.
Even with the teamwork, did you get through it every time, or did you ever take the penalty?
Oh no, every time. The only penalties actually, and I worked really hard on my obstacle and my grip this year. I didn't have to do any penalties for. I got it every time, just the tip and the ring one. Hanging tough. Yeah. I had to do a few obstacles on the other ones, but yeah.
I think the most annoying penalty seemed to be for just the tip too, banging in that rebar and everything. So it's good that you got to avoid that.
Yeah. I tore up my hands pretty good, but I got it every time. Yeah.
Awesome. And then just final thoughts on how you think that this venue was used and everything. How'd it go?
No, I liked it. It was a beautiful venue. I hadn't been to Florida before. It's really pretty here, all green, and so I thought the venue was great. I'm looking forward to next year. Yeah.
Next year being in Beaver Castle in England. What are your thoughts on that?
So we were just talking. Oh, it's in England. It's in England. So.
First time sleeping. It's gonna be in June, so that's gonna be a factor too. So it shouldn't be as cold, but again, it can vary wildly. I've been talking to some friends that live out there, but something that will be an added benefit for most people is that they're only gonna have like 5 hours of darkness.
Okay.
5 hours of darkness. So the sunset is gonna be late and the sunrise is gonna be early, both because of where they are in the hemisphere. I hope I'm not talking my ass. And just where it is time-wise in the summer too, so that should be a little bit different too.
Yeah. That was one thing this year that it was like the longest night of my life last night. I don't know. I was like, when is the sun going to come up? Even though I enjoyed it, the nighttime weather was nice. It just was like, it just felt long. Yeah.
And the sunrise and sunset were particularly beautiful this year.
Oh
too.
yeah, it was great. It was actually like a really great race. Well put on and everything. We enjoyed it. Yeah.
And any advice to someone that's thinking about taking on their first World's Toughest Mudder?
I would just say, just have your crew and your village with you. Having all your people really, really helps. And then embrace the community. This is one community, like the volunteers at, especially Berlin Wall. He was like, oh my gosh, I almost can't explain it, the feeling that they all give you. And then just do your best and set small goals. That was for me this year. So like as I was going, I was like, okay, this many laps in this many hours. And then once I hit that, okay, this many laps in this many hours. And it made it, right, exactly. Rather than saying 75 miles from the beginning and then making it is stunning. And then you get behind and then you like quit on that because you're behind in your pace. So, yeah.
Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to me. Congratulations on crushing it.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Michael, and I'm from Denmark.
And how did World's Toughest Mudder go for you this year?
Fine, I think so. Yeah.
So we have to talk about it right off the gate. Last year you did very well. You took a bit of a nap and got back out there. What kept you going this year?
I think we come a little more prepared this year. Last year we have some issue with we're not prepared enough. So this year I think a lot of what we can do better. And we try this year and just going good. Yeah.
Last year I had the words echoing in my head from Chris Maltby, like, I think you got a prize for like the most productive nap or something like that. And then like, we'll see how you do when you don't take your nap. And we found out you put in some incredible mileage. You tied the men's record, and you're the first man to ever win the sprint lap and win the overall event. So how does that feel?
It's feeling okay. I'd say, yeah. So yeah, it's feeling fine. It's fun to do. Yeah.
And a great representation for Denmark too.
Yeah. This one more time.
How does it feel to be able to represent your country in that way?
Oh, that's awesome. Denmark is a very good obstacle course racing country, so it's nice to go out and show we also can do it on the long races. Yes. We have to do it in the World Championships and all the stuff, but also we can do it in the long races. So that's awesome to do and be between Leon and Ida Mathilde. That's so awesome.
Great people. I actually just had Leon on for last episode too. So you guys are very well represented, but it's good to see, as you said, in the ultra space too. You got some great athletes.
Exactly, and that's nice. And Denmark also can be there. Yeah.
And I'm sure the weather was a little different here than in Denmark. How did the heat treat you? How did you do in terms of hydration?
I'll say we have think about that, so we just get the water and electrolytes all the time. So we just make it fit. So yes, just going good. Yeah, exactly.
What did you think about the course in terms of the obstacles out there for this year?
I don't know what to say about that because for me, I think it's a little too easy. But that's exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think the same thing this year. But again, if for the elite it's too easy, but for the mainstream, I think the course was so nice. But yeah, for the elite, I think just too easy. Yeah.
It's tough too because it has to be a balance, as you said, but it is a world championship event. So I think that's something that they need to take into consideration when planning next year.
Yeah, I'm into that. They need to think about maybe do 2 lanes or 3 lanes to the elite and make that harder, or do something, or do the penalties harder for something. Just do something to make it harder. Yeah, that could be awesome.
And then any plans for coming back next year? It should be closer.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm gonna go next year, but let's see. But it's in England, so maybe.
And then any final thoughts on your accomplishment this weekend?
I think I'm happy, and I think all the stuff just go like we want to. We can do something better, I know, and maybe I can do my training a little more, so we can come a little more better out of it, because the last round was just bad for me. I walked the whole way around, and I think that's not training enough up to it. So so we need to do something more, but I think this year was just go like it should. Yeah.
Well, it was great running with you once you retired, and I was able to keep up with you. And it was just great seeing you out there. Congratulations on an excellent performance.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Charlie Boher from Midhurst in England.
And how did World 700 go for you this year?
Yeah, really good. Really pleased with how it went. Managed to achieve my goal of 75 miles. And I think, all in all, no dramas. I mean, it's a tough course, tough race, lots of sores, but nothing to really complain about.
Yeah.
Just this morning's pretty sore.
I'm sure. That's the soreness that you worked for, though. You earned it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't complain about it. You can heal, and it's, give it a week or two and I'll be fresh as a daisy.
Exactly. And then thoughts on how the course was this year for you?
I think the course was good. I think I didn't run last year, but I heard the penalties were quite long. And I think the fact that they weren't long, but they were still, a bit challenging, I think that made a big difference. But I think the real game changer was the heats. I mean, I've never even been for like a training run in a heat like that before. So to come out and run like that, and also, I mean, for me, I find those first couple of laps when the obstacles aren't open, I am sort of getting a bit of a quicker pace just to get ahead of it. And that, and combined with the heat, was really, really tough. The amounts of water I drank and electrolytes, I mean, every lap was like 1 or 2 bottles of water. But it was hot.
Yeah, you needed to do that. It was brutal out there. I don't like the heat either. I wait for the sun to go down. I'm like, all right, now I can start doing some runs.
Yeah.
But there was no choice in the matter. You had to get out there, and going out hot could have been dangerous. But I'm glad you were able to keep up with the electrolytes, because that's a huge fact.
Yeah, well, I mean, even like you say, when the sun set, it was still hot. The crazy thing was, I only put on my windbreaker. Was it Birth Canal? Crybaby thing there. So I went in there. Normally with a Tough Mudder, they'll put that smoke in a little bit. In here, it was pumping all night long.
It was a lot, yeah.
And I went in there. I only had my bib on, so no top. I came out and I was cold. Like that, whatever that stuff was, like the mental thing, made me feel cold. 20 minutes later, and I still felt it. So I thought it was the temperature that had dropped. When I put my windbreaker on, and it wasn't. It was just that whatever vapor stuff that was. It was a weird thing. But
I know a lot of people talking about that, but yeah, you're right. They did go above and beyond with that. Because every time I went by that obstacle, like I knew I was getting close because I could smell it, I could see it.
I mean, it was cool to look at as well, with the lights and the mist in the background. It was pretty cool, but that was good.
Something that we missed out on, and you weren't here last year to see it, but no coach's corner this year too.
I
A little bit of
know,
disappointment.
I know that was I was actually looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Coach, I mean, he's a great guy, and I think having that all night long, it really does sort of, it's like having the start-finish line with Sean and the guys there is brilliant. Every time you cross the line, there's like a little party, and then to have that somewhere on course, but. I mean, hopefully he'll come next year to England.
Beaver Castle, again, we talked a little bit before the event, but excited. We'll see you there next year.
Yeah, I'll be down there next year. So, I mean, I really hope a lot of people from the States can come over because I think, the race, everything's great, but the people really do make world's toughest, So
I've actually never gone to England before, so I'm hoping to get enough time off to make a trip out of it.
Yeah, you should. You should. You'll love it. And, having it in the middle of June, whenever the sun's out anywhere in the world, it's great. So, hopefully the sun will be out for us there. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good seeing you, and congratulations on 75.
Yeah, thanks very much. Cheers.
So my name's Grant Thompson, and I'm from the Highlands of Scotland.
How did World Service Meta go for you this year?
It went brilliant. So I improved on last year. So 100 miles.
So I believe that was your goal last year, too. How did it feel to finally hit that goal?
It's weird. It almost doesn't feel real. So last year was the first World's Toughest Meta I'd done. I was just kind of winging it, dealing with a lot of injuries and cramps and stuff like that. So just short of the 100. So this year I was like, I'm getting it. However, going into that race with that heat, I honestly questioned I'd even get close to it. I hated the heat. It was horrible.
So what did you do in terms of hydration plan? Because that heat was disgusting.
Well, this year...
Pause that real quick. That's my team. That's my team doing the brunch. Making me look good out here.
So hydration-wise, I made sure this year not to go out as hot. I went out pretty hot last year. And this year, I pretty much put my camelback with my water bladder on straight away. And I was just filling up with about 1.5 litres, 2 litres of water. I still don't think it was enough. I was constantly just chugging away on that thing. But,
what did you think about the course in terms of the obstacles out there for this year?
I think it was probably slightly easier. And the terrain, it was good terrain. But I would say it was easier in the sense there wasn't just many hills. You see that sand section? It was only half a mile long, and it was brutal to the point where I even used a couple of bands because I was just I cannot be bothered with this. Just get away. So,
what did you think about a pyramid squeeze out there?
I hated that. It was horrible. So the first couple of times they didn't have the rope, and so you're sort of pulling yourself under it, and you're just scratching and scraping, and everyone was just getting pissed off and swearing and just not happy about it. So it was uncomfortable, but then they put the ropes down it, which did make it easier, but you kind of had to work together. If you're doing it on your own, it was just scraping the whole back of your head, and it's not hard, it was just annoying, just infuriating. So
next year it's going to be in Beaver Castle, a lot closer to you. What are your thoughts on that?
I love the fact that I don't have to get on a plane or worry about putting luggage together, or I can just drive there. So I always drive down to my races in England, so I can just get in the car, done. Yeah. So it'll be good. It feels weird that it's only 6-7 months away rather than a year, but in a way I think it'll be quite good because sometimes training at the end of the year you're battered, you're beaten up, so it might work better this way. And the weather hopefully won't get any hot like this because I don't want to run in heat like that again.
No, not a good time. And then another thing about the course actually last night, the sun went down, it cooled down, but those bugs came out. How annoying were those last night?
It was just the sort of occasional flies around the head that I was swatting away, but other than that I was sort of okay because I know a lot of people getting bitten and stuff like that. I was quite lucky in that sense. So yeah, I didn't seem none of the ants got me or that, and there was a few times where I was swatting away, but no, I was actually okay on that front.
I was told, and you'll know better, but I heard that in Scotland you have these midgets. I heard that they're fucking assholes.
Little tiny little mosquito-y things, and they're just irritating. So, and you can't really see them, so they're not brutal mosquito things where you die or that. They're just annoying little. Then they get really itchy once they bite you.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. It's really quiet now, and well done. Looking forward to seeing you next year.
Thank you very much.
Megan Beck from Boston, Massachusetts.
How did World Service Meta go for you this year?
I have no idea how it felt so easy. Honestly, all night as I was running past people, I was saying my body understands the assignment because I didn't have any kind of aches and pains until going out for my last lap for 75 miles. And I even told my pit crew, my feet are starting to bother me. I should probably change shoes. And they're like, no, you're going one more lap. You can just do it. And yeah, I was running every single lap up until that last lap.
You gotta love it when a plan comes together. What do you think it was just training differently or just like a perfect combination? What do you think it was that made it go so well for you this year?
Well, I think optimizing my nutrition did so much for me. I really focused on cleaning up my diet. I'd had the CGM on for like 6 months, trying to figure out what I needed to eat, how to fuel, and how my body converted like my fats and carbs and everything. And then I just like relied on that and like let my body go to work. My training, honestly, the last couple of months, I feel like it didn't go as great as it could have been. And like, I mean, I sprained my ankle at Savage in Boston. I sprained my knee at Savage in Boston. I sprained my ankle about a month later. I expected to have a lot of trouble with this race because I'm still dealing with those and I didn't feel anything. So something was with me. I don't know. I ran with my dog that passed away, his bandana. And I think he was there with me. Yeah. You know, crazy dog person.
Kick some ass. I love that. How are you doing with the weather? Obviously, you took hydration carefully, but how was that experience?
So, if you look at my times, I was so slow on the first lap. And I have no problem with that. Yeah. Going out, even talking with like my pit crew and everybody in the house, I knew the race for me wasn't going to start until it got dark out. I'm not the strongest runner. I know that my body overheats. You know, they had one water station in that first lap. And it wasn't until 3 miles in we had no water, obstacles, no water to go through on course. So, yeah, it got really hot fast and I could feel the heat coming on. So I was like, I'm not going to push myself. I don't need a great time on the sprint lap. I need to be consistent throughout. And if you look at my times, I was so consistent all night. And like, again, my body understood the assignment.
Yeah. So how did it feel crossing that finish line for the final time and hitting your goal?
Well, when I realized I was going to hit my goal, I burst into tears. I was like ugly crying by the time I crossed the finish line. I've wanted 75 miles for the last 2 years because this is only my second year doing this, but I never thought it was possible. Like I deal with a lot of self-doubt. I really wanted that 75 miles, and all year I've been fighting for that elite contender status. I love the fact that you can't just like sign up for elite here. You have to earn it. And now finishing 9th female overall, I should have it.
That was something pretty cool too, because I saw that you were putting in some serious mileage, and I didn't have time to check the whole leaderboard, but then eventually saw like, oh, top 10. All right, 9. So how does that feel too on icing on the cake?
Yeah, I honestly had no idea. I talked to a couple people that were talking to me about standings on particularly the last lap, and they were kind of telling me where I was at. I'm like, I haven't been paying attention. I guess my pit crew would occasionally check, but nobody told me. I wasn't there racing. I was there racing for myself. I wanted that 75 miles more than anything else. Nothing else mattered. I mean, if I would have gone out for that last lap, which based on my times and how consistent I was, I probably could have come in with 80 miles, but that wouldn't have mattered for my age group. My age group is so stacked, I still ended up 5th in my age group.
So what was your dog's name again?
So my dog's name was Titan.
So yeah, congratulations to you and Titan on the course.
Thank you.
And any chance we'll see you at Beaver Castle next year?
Well, now I have elite contender status, so I guess I have to.
We'll see you there.
Thank you.
My name's Kevin Anderson, and I'm from Michigan.
How did your race go this year?
It's my new personal best, so that was pretty awesome. I had some blister problems kind of halfway through that slowed me down a little, and I was maybe 3 minutes shy of trying for 85, so it worked out.
What was your previous best before this?
75. Okay. Las Vegas in 2015, I think.
So it's been a while.
It's been a little while, yeah.
How does it feel to finally beat your best now?
Fantastic, especially a year ago, April, I had ankle surgery.
Wow.
So I managed to get through the Holy Grail this season, and pull this off is fantastic.
Speak on that a little bit too, like the recovery process of, I imagine, not being able to run for a little bit. Like how important did you take the doctor's advice?
Yeah, I mean, I did gymnastics for 30 years, and the doctor kind of put some emphasis on the running being the problem, and I kind of leaned towards the gymnastics. But yeah, I spent 6 months last year off my foot. I did Worlds last year, but purposely I did 20 miles or so, and then I helped at Everest for the night. And so then this year I did 4 Spartan trifectas, and I've been working my way through the Holy Grail, and it's been a lot slower, and I've been dealing with a bunch of other things, I think, because of the ankle, like leg imbalances and heels and calves and things, and so it's been a process. But
what do you think about the course that they had for this year, the obstacles, everything about it?
I thought the obstacles were pretty standard. I really didn't like putting Devil's Beard going up the wall and making that. Yes, that was not great. But otherwise, about what I expected. I thought the course was fantastic. And there were a couple really, really great views in the evening, a really nice sunset over the lake, and then beautiful sunrise. And it was a really nice course.
What are your thoughts on it going to Belvoir Castle next year in England?
It'll be an exciting change, I guess. I don't know if I'll be able to make it. It's on the schedule and looking to that, but it'll be something different and something exciting, I'm sure. And I imagine, it's not about the course, it's not about the obstacles, it's the people and the experience, right? And it's just going to be a world's toughest in the same community in a whole nother place. And I imagine it'll be pretty awesome for whoever does it.
I'm excited for it. Any advice for people that are planning to take on their first World Service Mudder?
I mean, obviously, run something. Does Tough Mudders or not? My first Tough Mudder was World's Toughest in Las Vegas. You just kind of have to have some sort of plan. And when it gets dark and you get down in those pits, it'll have something there that's going to keep you moving, and then one foot in front of the other, and it'll be what it is.
Congratulations on such high mileage, and hope to see you in Belvoir Castle, but I'll see you at another event.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Great work. That's great.
John Castle from Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania.
And how did your race go this year?
It went pretty good. The weather was definitely a little better than years past. Overnight temperatures didn't drop much below the low 70s, so we weren't dealing with the typical wetsuit conditions that we have in the World's Toughest Mudder in years past. So it made it little more tolerable, I'm going to say, in the overnight. You definitely see when you look at the overall mileage. The mileage was up from years past, 5-10 miles more. Last year I was at 75 miles. This year I got 85 miles. The heat was a little more than on Sunday afternoon than it was Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon than it was on Saturday. But overall, it was a good day, really good day for me.
How does it feel to make that mileage jump?
My goal was 80 miles to stop it from last year. I had a second and third place and fourth place guy were all on the same lap with me. They weren't far behind me within the same lap, so basically they forced me to keep the pace up every lap. My wife and my biggest supporter, my pit crew, basically was keeping me up to date where they were at, how far back they were, so it forced me to kind of push a little bit harder, knowing I wanted that first place. This is the third year in a row I've gotten first place in the age group. So.
Congratulations.
So the fact that I had a second, third, and fourth place guy that were on the same lap forced me to keep it up. And as I got closer, I realized that 85 was definitely within reach. So I had to push harder.
Do you know Evan Preparis?
Who?
Evan Preparis.
No, I don't.
Well, he brought you up on the live stream because he was so impressed by your accomplishment of getting age group again too. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pushing. I'm very competitive. I run Spartan races all the time as well. Spartan Ultras are probably my strongest point. But very competitive. So basically, I wanted first place again this year, and the fact that I had a second, third, and fourth place guy that were staying on the same lap with me never allowed me to back off the pace whatsoever. Yeah.
What did you think about the obstacles out on the course today?
The obstacles were good. They were good. Similar to years past. A lot of them were similar. They changed and mixed a few of them up a little bit. The Arctic Enema was a double dunk wall, but there again, fortunately, the overnight temperatures never dipped below the 70s, so it was a little more tolerable than years past. Years past, I would always give up my band in the middle of the night to bypass that obstacle. Where this one, I was able to tolerate with the temperatures. So. Yeah, but I like the fact that they mix it up every year, not coming to the same obstacles, for the most part. I mean, some of them are the same, but they mix them up as well, so you never know what you're going to get.
Speaking of mixing it up, next year in England, Belvoir Castle, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm pretty excited about that too. Just to try it out of the country somewhere. It's the last weekend of June. It is, and obviously Morzine, which is the Ultra World Championship, is just 5 days later on Friday, which I plan on doing both of them. So going from one to the other. So that's.
Did you do Morzine this year, too?
I did do it this year. Yes,
How
I
was
did.
that? It looked beautiful.
It was a great experience. I was running pretty good. Me and a guy from Hungary, Elmer was his name, we're battling for the top position. I rolled an ankle, unfortunately, and I had to back off the pace a little bit, but I still pushed through the end and finished 4th place, just a minute and a half behind 3rd place, the final position on the podium. But I'm looking forward to going back again next year and give it my all, hopefully keep it 100% the whole way.
In terms of age group competitions, what are you most proud of?
Most proud of? This is probably one of the most right here. Obviously, to win the world's toughest mudder 3 years in a row, 1st place, is probably the most proudest for sure, the biggest accomplishment.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me, and enjoy the rest of your food.
Thank you. Enjoy talking about it.
Jamie Scott from Binghamton, New York, Team Noob Sanity.
How did World's Toughest Mudder go for you this year?
It went pretty good. Definitely was able to push through the whole time. Conditions were great. The weather was way better than the years I've done it before. Course was great. Volunteers were awesome. Everybody out there doing the race obviously was the best part.
Were you able to stay up in your hydration as you had planned?
I think so. Yep. I felt pretty good about my hydration, nutrition. Crashed a little bit, but that's probably reflective of the training that I've been doing. So, it was a bit off a little bit more I could chew with this race, but still happy with the results. So,
what do you think about the obstacles?
I thought they were great. Some of them were pretty challenging. Good mix of grip stuff and having to bounce over stuff and things like that. And then obviously anything you do 20 hours into a race is going to be difficult. So, but yeah, I thought they were all really good. Like I said, challenging enough to make you feel like you accomplished something, but not so challenging that they were impossible.
Right.
So.
What penalties did you experience?
So the one with the hippity hop. I had to do that. That was well swung. Yep. Did that one every time until I got to start skipping it. That's a tough one. Yep. And then Funky Monkey. By the time I got there, everything was wet, and I fell off of that. That was the croquet.
That was the croquet.
Yep.
It didn't seem too bad, just time consuming.
Exactly. Yep. Even the hippity hop one wasn't as bad as I've seen in years past. So
pretty short. I was happy to see that.
Definitely. Yep. Yeah. No elevation in the hippity hop. So
the worst penalty, from what I had seen, looked to be the one with the rebar at just a tip. How'd you do with that obstacle?
Good. I actually made that every time except for one. Yep. So I did the. I had to do the rebar penalty once, and it wasn't too bad. Again, it didn't take a lot out of you. I think that the hippity hop doing, a couple dozen squats, it was the worst one for me. But
and then plug Team Noob Sanity.
Yeah, Team Noob Sanity. They're the place that I train up there. The expertise and the the accomplishments of everybody up there is really inspiring. They're basically the reason why I'm here. It's a great place to go and a great group of people to be around.
Congratulations on your mileage, and great seeing you out here.
Thanks, Tommy. Yep, we'll see you later. Perfect. All right.
So I am Lucas. I'm from Canada, BC, and just finished my first World's Toughest Mudder.
How did it go for you?
It went well, honestly. I am disappointed in myself because I didn't get 50 miles, but to be fair to myself, I still did 30. Yeah. I still got the official completion for the Holy Grail, and I don't generally train marathons frequently, so. Okay. The fact that I couldn't get what was essentially almost 2 marathons, not super surprising to myself, but it's a goal for next time whenever I decide to do another one of these again, because I'm going to get that 50-mile bib at some point. Right. I don't know when, but yeah.
So when it comes to getting 50 miles, speed isn't a factor. It's kind of like perseverance. So did you take a nap? What was it that...
I honestly think the biggest thing for me was just that, because it wasn't speed, you're right. I think it was just my body being physically ready for it, because it's and it's definitely one thing to be able to run a marathon. It's another thing to be able to run that marathon on uneven terrain. On sand. Oh man, that was miserable. But also just the fact that, this Florida heat was awful. I remember I told myself at the start of the race, I wasn't going to go fast. I wasn't intent. It's a marathon, not a race. But exactly. Exactly. So I was telling myself at the first lap, the starting hours, the sprint lap, told myself I'm not going to run it. I'm just going to try and go jog the whole thing, a slow jog. But it was like mile 1 of the first lap. It hit me. It's like, there is no way I can do this. It is just too hot. It's too humid. I just wasn't ready for this kind of like weather.
Yeah,
if it was, oh man, it definitely drained me way more than I was expecting it to. Because I was hoping to like, just, jog along the first lap and then, just run and jog and run and jog. And that didn't end up happening. I basically walked the entire first lap, and that just kind of set the tone for the rest of the race in terms of just like both my pace, like speed wise, as well as my energy levels. It just drained me way more than I thought.
It's tough to like try to not get in your own head about that too, because you're right, in the moment it sucks, but like just finding a way to like push. What advice would you give yourself before running it?
Going into the future, and this is something I actually talked with another couple mutters about, is based on where and when the next tough mutter is like planned. Yeah. I'm going to look at the weather for that day, because like they plan them like a year in advance, right? Yeah. So when I know that the next one is in, I don't know, like October or whatever, I'm going to look at where it is and what weather it is right now, assuming it's about a year off, and then planning for accordingly that way. Because I mean, I knew it would be hot and humid being Florida, but it's another thing to completely like actually be expecting it and prepared for it versus just like, oh yeah, it will be hot. Well, I didn't know I'd be this hot and humid, and also like that just was the hardest part for me, just getting over that like mental gap, and I didn't overcome it, but that's for next time.
Well, hopefully it's less hot and humid when it's in Belvoir Castle next year, which is in England. I'm sure it's expensive to go out there. Any plans to try to make that trip, or?
I want to say yes, but honestly I can't. They're just a little too pricey for me, and honestly it works out because I get more time to like prepare for the mutter for whenever one I do next. Yeah. Because like I said, I want that 50. I'm going to get that 50. Yeah. And hopefully wherever they do it next, if it's hot and humid, they at least have one of the water obstacles open up. Because when I was doing the lap here, when I finished my first lap, it had just started opening up like, what was it called? The Shawshank is the one. Yeah. And that like really re-energized me. It's like if this was like the halfway point, I could easily finish this no issues. But it was like one of the last obstacles. It's like, well, now I'm way too hot and bothered. I can run to the finish line from here, but that's like, what, a quarter mile? Not even? That's not that bad. But yeah, hopefully it's a little cooler and I can manage the next one, because I don't do well in heat, as I have unfortunately learned out the hard way.
Well, goals be damned. Congratulations on finishing World's Toughest Mudder.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward. Unfortunately, can't get the Holy Grail today, but I mean, it's going to be shipped into me, so it's not all that bad. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know where on my wallet's going to go, though, yet. Got to figure that out.
So they're not handing out the Holy Grail? What's that?
They said that they're like, there's an issue with the ship supplier. Like the shipment is just coming in late.
Okay.
So they're going to like just sell them out afterwards.
That makes sense. Gotcha. Yeah.
Kevin Praytor from Houston, Texas.
And how was World's Toughest Mudder for you this year?
It was great. I went out with a lofty goal of getting 55 miles for a dirty brown bib and knocked it out of the park in 24 hours.
How does it feel to hit your goal?
It feels really good. Last year I helped a friend, so I put my goals aside.
Yep.
So,
was it Kuskos that you were helping out with? I'm trying to remember.
No, Alex.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Yep.
So, yeah, we came out and we just grinded all night, and we finished 24 hours and 5 seconds. So.
Yeah. And what did you think about the obstacles out in the course this year?
I thought the obstacles were good. Yeah, they were a little basic, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, we missed our mud mile, we missed our Augustus Gloop. But I thought the obstacles were good.
Another one missing. Your hats reminded me of Coach's Corner. No Coach's Corner this year.
No, that was kind of sad to not have a Coach's Corner. That's why it's kind of an homage to him, because I've got the pants as well.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Yeah, he'll be happy to see that.
Yeah.
I posted a video. I don't remember where it was in the course because everything's a blur. It's in Curtis' view too, but there was a picture of like recipes Coach's Corner.
I saw that hanging on a fence.
Yeah, and it was nice that they had that out there. I took a video, I sent it to Coach, and he, he misses being out here too.
Of course. Yeah. No, but I thought the penalties were fair for the obstacles, and I thought they were spaced out pretty good. Yeah. The sand was just really the killer this year. A half mile of sand was just with lumber sack thrown at the beginning.
Yep.
My quads are dying this morning. So
I can imagine. And then, was the temperature much of a factor for you? I know you're from Texas, so.
No. This was actually the first one where I didn't add any layers at all, and I ran in shorts and
a t-shirt.
Yeah.
So that was really nice to not have to get all bulky in the middle of the night and then try to tear it all off once the sun came up.
Yeah, that's fair. And then, what are your thoughts on it going to Beaver Castle in England next year?
I think it's really good for the brand. It might be tough for a lot of the Americans to make it over there, but it's where OCR's moving to. It really is, and yeah, they should do it over there. And I think they're going to do it right and blow it out for the first year.
I hope so. Absolutely. And then, advice to someone taking on their first World Surface Mudder. What have you learned over the years?
I would say my best advice is just keep your pitch short, 2 to 5 minutes, and don't sit down, and don't think you're going to take a nap and get up in the morning. That would be my best advice. Just keep moving all night.
Well, congratulations on hitting your goal, man, and good to see you.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Yeah, good seeing you, bud.
Francis Lackner from Chicagoland in Illinois.
How did World Surface Mudder go for you this year?
It went fantastic. Probably one of the best events I've done in a while.
How many miles did you get?
5.
Explain that.
Myself, Glenn Brooks, and Ryan Cray, we stay at Everest, and so helping for the entire time the obstacle's open. So this year it was, I think, right around 20 and a half hours, and we just stay there and help pull people up all night.
So how many times have you done this now around?
This is my 9th Worlds, I believe, and my 7th time doing staying at Everest helping.
That's insane. How much of a toll does that take to your body?
I mean, it's a lot, but it's what I train for, so I don't feel horrible today.
Yeah, good. Do you ever feel? Do you feel like you're compelled? Like if you guys don't show up, no one else will?
No, not at all. I know the community will still help each other out because it's kind of what we're ingrained to do. But at the same time, I want people to still run their race. Right. We'll always take extra help up at the top, but I never want people to feel like they have to stay and help. Partially because we enjoy doing what we're doing. And that's why we're there. We are actively signing up for World Toughest Mudder, knowing that's what we're going to do. We didn't sacrifice our race. We didn't change anything. That's what we came to do. That's what we set out to do. And we feel if we left early that we didn't do all we could. We didn't give all we could.
Leave it all out there.
Exactly. So when someone does 100 miles or they felt like they were going to do 100 and they only did 75 and, I didn't have a good race, something happened, we would feel the exact same way if we weren't out there the entire time.
That's a good comparison. I like that.
Yeah.
We talked, I think it was either after 2018 or 2019 when I ran, and I asked this question. I'm going to ask it again for people listening now. Do you ever feel annoyed when people take the penalty route instead of going up Everest?
I never feel annoyed if someone takes the penalty. What I want somebody to think about is we are there to help give of ourselves so that they can do more. So take advantage of that. Use that. And help us help you. Because if the penalty takes you 5 minutes and you're coming through 10 times, that's another lap for you, or half a lap. Where if we can get you up and over Everest in a minute, you're saving a lot of time and time again. So I never get upset with that. If you have a massive fear of heights and Everest is one of those bugaboos that I can't do it, totally understand. But at the same time, run the race smart. You're out here to get distance, so how do you get the most distance out? So if people are staying at an obstacle, and you're like, no, I'm going to do all the obstacles myself. If that's part of your goal, do it. But if you're out here to get distance, to get that orange jacket, to get that 50 bib, to get that whatever, use your resources and use everything that's there to the best of your knowledge. So if you can get a boost, if you can get a hand, if you can grab that wall a little bit goofy, and it gives you a slight advantage to get up and over and through it faster, do it. Take every little, and that was an advice I got before my first Worlds in 2015, where it was, be smart. Use everything to your advantage when you're trying to go for whatever your goal is.
something different about this World's Toughest Mudder, which I'm sure came in handy for you, is the temperature being very, very warm. So I'm sure you didn't have to pack as many layers and stuff when you're up there. Because once you're there, you're not leaving, right? Yeah. So how was that for you this year?
It was good. We did have changes of clothes. We did have some cold weather gear just in case. The wind, luckily, it didn't really pick up till the morning. Really bad, or not bad, I should say, but the wind wasn't consistently heavy till later in the morning and through the rest of the event. But we didn't need too much there, which was nice. More so because it takes up a lot of space in our packs. But we did have a lot of fluids. We each collectively probably had anywhere between 250 and 300 ounces of fluids. And so our rucks were really, really heavy this year, probably each on the order of 65 to 75 pounds that we carted out to Everest. And that's what killed us getting out there. Because we bring all of our stuff out, and then we take all our trash with us. So
you got the obstacles to do as well.
Yep. Yeah. Luckily, only doing the sprint lap. We start at the same time as everybody else, and we follow the rules and say you have to finish a lap after 9 or 10 a.m. and or be in active pursuit. So we finished our 5 miles, technically still our sprint lap, as the event was closing down.
I'm just realizing too, it's probably a good thing that Everest is towards the end too, so you don't have to do that awful trek with all your weight at the end, right?
Yeah, and we've done it 2 different ways. In years past, when Everest has been one of the first few obstacles, we'll actually fully complete the sprint lap, leave our ruck in the pit, pick it up, and then bring it out to Everest. And then when the last participant comes through, usually at 12:30, 12:10, because you can't start a lap after 12 o'clock, we'll then pack up and start being in active pursuit of a lap and get swept off course because we don't care about mileage. And to be an actual participant of the or a completed participant on the event, you needed to complete a lap after or be in active pursuit of a lap. And if you're in active pursuit of a lap, that mileage just doesn't count towards your goal because you didn't finish.
That makes sense. Okay, yeah.
So that's why we say we either do the sprint lap or we complete our sprint lap. One or the other.
That makes sense. And then another question that I know I've asked you before, but I'm sure you're not tired of answering it. Tell me about the rose that you carry and wear in your hair.
So I carry it now more as kind of a memory and as a feeling, but it started when my mom was going through cancer, and it was to remind her that every day she wakes up is a good day because it's one more day above the roses. And now that she's forever cancer-free above me in heaven, I carry it around, one for myself and everyone else that's has gone through cancer, but also just remind everybody that today's a good day. We get to do this, and not everyone gets that opportunity. Even say for Tough Mudder, who's putting on this event for us, they're working. This is their job. And when they've got 100 people yelling at them, the porta potties are full. There's not enough cups at the water station. They're getting literally yelled at, and it's like, and they have to have a smile on their face. And so when I do my day of roses and I'll hand out roses, I do it to hand out mostly to people that are working, to remind them, hey, thank you from me and everyone else here for putting on these awesome events. Because while you may not hear it all the time, thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
We appreciate you. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So,
and then wrapping up, what are your thoughts on it going to Beaver Castle in England next year?
I am beyond excited for it, to be honest. I think while there's a very large community here in the United States, a large following, we all have to remember that there's an probably as large, if not larger, community overseas as well that doesn't get to travel because you have to have a disposable income, and a good one, to be able to come over here to spend 5, 6, multiple weeks. And so now having it over there, it's going to be a very different change of pace. I know the environment's different, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a great time.
Thanks for doing what you're doing, man, and good talking to you.
Thank you.
OCR Report, and we are so excited to bring you the World Toughest Motor 2024 Champions Brunch. Give yourselves a hand. The World Toughest Motor Champions Brunch is a celebration of three things. It's a celebration of the race, it's a celebration of the community, and it's a celebration of the athletes. I was at the very, very first World Toughest Motor Champions Brunch in 2015. We were in a large ballroom in Las Vegas. I was just a guy who ran his very first World Toughest Motor, and I got 15 miles. I don't know how to explain it, but that clapping was very sarcastic. I love you too. I cannot explain how much the World Toughest Motor community means to me. It is a little part of my life, that is inseparable from who I am as a person. And so to be able to be up here and to celebrate this with you is an honor beyond description. So thank you, and let's celebrate the race. I have a lot of talking to do, and my co-host Fran is going to do a lot of talking as well. But before we start, I want to give you two pieces of information. Pull out your phones, and you're going to send a text message to yourself. If you are coming to World's Toughest Motor 2025, you know when you watch a movie and you're like, let's just get to the good parts. I'm going to get to the good part right now. World's Toughest Motor 2025 is in the UK. It's in England. If you go to tumblr.com, find an event right now, $419 to sign up. Cheapest price you're going to find, right? Except, I'm going to give you a $50 discount code. Text this message to yourself after the brunch sign up, alright? Text this message to yourself. You ready? 2024 WTN 50. 2024 WTN 50. And you're like, oh, it's for 2025. Why is 2024 on the number? Yeah, it's a good point. Second thing, it's not your discount. That'll save you $50. You can get to World Toughest Motor 2025 for less than $400 if you sign up today. Tumblr.com, find an event, World Toughest Motor 2025. And if you didn't get it, that's an action. He never texted it to himself. Second thing, this brunch right now is being streamed online. YouTube.com/TheOCR Report. If you're going to be here on stage, if you want to tell your friends and your family to watch you, send a text to them. YouTube.com/TheOCR Report. They can watch the slides, they can watch ceremony, and they can watch you if you're coming up on stage as one of the age group or overall or team champions. So we'd love to have you do that as well. YouTube.com/TheOCR Report. Praytor, tell us some stats.
All right, so this was a huge World's Toughest Motor this year. We had a ton of records broken. Firstly, maybe not records, but these are some numbers. We had 5,946 laps run by you guys here in this room. That's a ridiculous total of 29,730 miles. No wonder your legs hurt.
Actually, this is a fun fact. That mileage total, that's the most miles ever recorded at a World's Toughest Motor since we started tracking this statistic last night. So congratulations. I want to bring up our first member of the Team HQ Tumblr community, Clinton Jackson. Clinton, if you come on up here. Clinton is one of the funniest people I know. You see him all the time at electroshock therapy. There's a power in laughter. I want to tell a story real quick that Clinton told me. How powerful laughter is. When Clinton was 12 years old, he was in school, and he had a school teacher that had a lazy eye. And that's not the joke. And Clinton, you know him now, he was the same as a child. Clinton made a joke. And he was just trying to make people laugh, his friends laugh. And they did. But it made the teacher cry. He said that her husband left her because she was seeing someone on the side. And it made his friends laugh, but it made the teacher cry. She actually left. They got a sub. That summer, the teacher quits teaching. Clinton, he told me he's felt bad about this for years. He actually ran into her a few weeks ago at a Starbucks. And he saw her and he said, I am so sorry. I am so sorry about what I did, how I drove you out of teaching all those years ago. And he found forgiveness. She said, it's fine. It's okay. It's not your fault. I couldn't control my pupils. Clinton Jackson, can you talk to the community?
What went wrong there, didn't he? You're good, buddy. You're the king of dad jokes, buddy. The new king. Oh, man. You guys. Wow. What? First of all, what an amazing weekend, huh? Was this something? High miles. High smiles. So, thank you guys again for not just this weekend, but for personally, for me, for being a huge part of my life. This is work. We come here, we work, but it's more than that. It's a meaningful thing to be a part of a meaningful thing that means so much to so many people. And I count myself fortunate every time. There is never a time when I'm not out there with you that I wish I was somewhere, because it's the best place to be. And that's because of you guys. And the people in this room and the spirit that you foster that carries on to anybody who comes out and joins us as a new person. You welcome them, you bring them in, you take care of them, you take care of each other. So I know that I'm a part of something special. If there's any little thing that I can ever do, I love being able to do that. So thank you guys, thank you. I love you, Frank. Man, it's so hard. I'm glad that you all know what we have in Tough Mudder, because that means I don't have to try to put it into words, because there's just no doing that. But I want to call you to just reflect on it and appreciate it and nurture it and care for it for however long it goes. And like I said, out back in the world, there's a lot that it's still. So thank you guys for that, and thank you for again how you take care of each other. Thank you for what you bring back to your families.
You're kicking the table a little.
Last thing I just want to say this as far as this event itself, thank you for letting me look into your eyes and see the best that we have to offer. To watch you break down, to watch you cry, to watch you rebuild, to hold you in my arms, to feel your heart next to mine, and say that these people are really giving everything. And it's my privilege. And thank you. And I hope that whatever you set out to get, you got, and if you didn't, don't just think about the journey you wanted, but look at the journey you got. Because you did a lot that you don't even realize yet. That's what I was telling Nick. It's like you look back, right, and you think about what actually happened, even beyond what you wanted to happen. Think about the people you affected, the people you made better, the people you encouraged, the people you uplifted, all right? And own that, because that really is, apart from what you wanted, that is the best of it, okay? So take that, all right, y'all?
Thanks, Tim. Tim's going to stand up here and congratulate some of our athletes that think about.
So the first athletes that we are going to celebrate will be the age group winners. If I could please welcome onto the stage the women's winners in 18 to 24. In first place, Ellie Laird. This is Sydney Doyle. And third place is Catherine Reynolds. Men's 18 to 24, in first place, Zachary O'Brien. Place is Baxter Hummel, and third place, Brandon Witrowski. Tell who was running yesterday and who, like me, sat still for the most time they ever have. Congratulations, guys. The women aged 25 to 29, in first place is Trisha Messick. Sheridan Santiga. And in third place is Piper Hopkins. Men's aged 25 to 29. In third place, Paul Massey. Second place is Tyler Mosesian. You may notice there is no second place, and this is for a very special reason. If you were watching the race or the live stream, you may have noticed that when these guys finished, one of them finished about, seemed to finish like 2 seconds ahead. We thought, oh my gosh, he's overtaken in the last moment. This is insane. It's going to go crazy. They'd actually planned to cross the finish line absolutely together. They ran the race together and they wanted to finish together. And so they are taking the first place together. Congratulations. So women's winners, age 35 to 39. In third place is Mindy Archer. In second place is Hallee Milot. And in first place is Gillian Heller. Men's winners, age 35 to 39. In third place is Jeff Lippert. Place is Scotty Campbell. And in first place is Grant Thompson. We were trying to work out if you were going to be the highest placed Scot. Unfortunately, not quite. Second Scottish person, second highest Scot miles ever. I think that deserves a round of applause. In age 40 to 44, in third place is Megan Mendes. In second place is Ruth Battersea. And in first place is Jackie Naylor. Men's winners, age 40 to 44. In third place is Joe Sack. In second place is Spencer Liddell. And in first place is Matthew Mullins. Next up are the women aged 45 to 49. In third place is Elise Vaughan. In third place is Christina Wilson. And in first place is Sherilyn Delvers. Next up, men's winners aged 45 to 49. In third place is Scott Wareski. In second place is John Finnegan. And in first place is Jim Gowdry. Next up we have women aged 50 to 54. In third place is Kirsten Meckleburg. In second place is Elizabeth Lukacic. And in first place is Sue Harvey Brown. Men aged 50 to 54. In third place is Victor Beale. In second place is Sean Hastings. In first place is Fred Clark Louie. So for the women 55 to 59. In third place is Maxine Johnson. In second is Laura Deerberger. And in first place is Renee Thomas Jacobs. Next, men aged 55 to 59. In third place is Joe Perry. Second place is Matthew Bridgeford. And in first place is John Castle. Next up is the women's winners aged 60 plus. In first place is Deborah Arson. And now for the men winners aged 60 plus. In third place is Brett Tank. In second place is James Brown. And in first place is Gary Villeneuve.
Let's have one more hand from. All right, next up. I want to welcome to the stage a member of the World's Toughest Mudder community that every single one of you know and love, Melissa Sharkbait. She's more of her time and energy in the community than anyone I know. She was my very first guest on World's Toughest podcast years ago. And when you finish a race and you see Melissa there, you know you're going to be welcomed with love. I am thrilled to introduce Melissa Dugan.
Thank you, Will. Just want to make sure I have last year's winners up here with me, present our winners. I just want to take a quick opportunity to thank the volunteers, your pit crew, headquarters, everyone that just made this event absolutely amazing. Thank you all so much. Pit crew, my little sister, thank you for following me around the world next year. So Jason Helmstetter started the Clydesdale Medina category for our community members. It's for the community, by the community, and it's to help celebrate those of us that are a little bit bigger, hard to compare, someone that's, 100 pounds running around. So we love to celebrate them separately, and we want to start off with Clydesdale's. The minimum weight requirement is 215 pounds, and the Athena's is 150 pounds. So we're starting off with our Athena winners, and our third place is Becca. Come on up. Congratulations. Second place, Mel. Hard-earned 165 miles.
Camera. That's a good. I didn't realize it. No, all good.
All three of our winners all completed 65 miles. Great accomplishment for these women. I want to give these two a moment by themselves because our first place is not here, but someone will be accepting, so if you guys want to take photos with just you two, so I'll give you guys a moment. Leanne, if you want to come up. And Lisa is our first place winner with 65 miles. And Lisa's coach is no other than Bubbles. And we have given him this amazing opportunity to accept it on her behalf. He's going to put it in the gym and make sure that she continues to work out every single day. So congratulations all. Mark, are you nearby? There he is. Come on up, Mark. Come on. So our Clydesdale's winners, starting off with third place, Adam Kuskos. 65 miles from this gentleman. Fantastic job. Second place, I'm not as good as you with last name, so George. I don't know if we have George here tonight. Congratulations to you today. Congratulations. And our first place winner is 75 miles, Daniel Stevens. Wow. See you guys next year. A few months, right?
One more round of applause for our Athenas and Clydesdale. Well done. Well done. Next, I want to welcome up another Tough Mudder MC, Tommy Gimbler. Tommy was one of the MCs overnight. Tommy was on the microphone at 4 p.m. when Night Ops started. And everyone thought, man, Night Ops is kind of early. Why do I have to put on my headlamp right now? Tommy was very clear that you had to put on your headlamp at 4 o'clock. And as soon as his wife showed up at the venue, you also had to put your shirt back on. So, Tommy Gimbler. Thank you, bro. Can you hand me a microphone that doesn't work? No, there you go. All right, here we go. I'm just going to stand right here. Big round of applause to yourselves again, ladies and gentlemen. What a powerful performance by so many. If for whatever reason you don't know who they are, Clint, do me a favor, stand up real quick. Clint Jackson, just in case you were in a coma 15 minutes ago, and Sean Corbett all the way in the back over there. So unlike these two, they don't have to do it. It's not in their contract for them to hang out for 27 hours and hug you guys when you smell like ass. You're soaked, you're full of mud. It's not in their contract to hang around, but they do. And a big thank you to both of you guys for inspiring me year-round. Right? Like the motivation, the jokes, the speeches you guys bring to the table. One more big round of applause to them, ladies and gentlemen. They bring it all to the table. And just like you guys, they give it all out on the course every single time they're here. So thank you for being an inspiration to me. Now, yesterday, you guys asked me to tell some stories. This is what I saw yesterday. After listening to Sean talk to y'all at the starting line and saying, nobody knows what your best is except you, right? Only you are going to know what your best is. And you make sure that when you cross that finish line that you have left your best out on that course. And this is what that best looked like yesterday. I saw Elizabeth, who you just saw up here on the stage, winning her award. I saw her at a certain point saying that her body was telling her, no, I can't do it. I want to get my personal best today, right? Your personal best was 55 miles, right? It was 55, right? It was 60. What'd you get yesterday? You got 60 yesterday. Yeah, you're ruining my story. That's okay. So her personal best was 55, right? And she wanted to beat that mark. She wanted to beat it, but at a certain point in the night, her body was telling her, I can't do it. And for whatever reason, her husband, Charles, who we're going to call Chuck because it feeds into this story, decided to have Taco Bell breakfast yesterday, and it didn't work out too well for him on the course. If you saw him, he was up chucking his brains out like there was no tomorrow. But instead of just calling it a day and going to bed and laying in his tent, Charles got back out on the course, and Elizabeth, instead of letting her body shut her down, she dug deep. It's not like when she went to the pits that she went and found like a kilo of cocaine and it woke her up and said, okay, now I can do it, right? Everything that got her back out on that course came from in here, and it came from the inspiration that was provided by her husband, Charles, as well. So as she's getting out to that back out on the course, she's hitting like that 40-mile mark, 45, 50. Chuck, even though he's just ralphing his brains out, says, honey, I'm going to join you. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to run with you. And what was it? Every 2 obstacles, this poor dude's puking his brains out everywhere he goes. But then all of a sudden he crosses 25 miles, 30 miles, 35 miles. And at the end, by God, they did it. Charles ended up with 40 miles, and Elizabeth ended up with her personal best 60 miles in the world's toughest mudder. And to show what that tough mudder spirit's all about, despite the fact that her husband had been barfing for the last 3 hours out on the course, she just started giving him a big kiss. Now, what that kiss smelled like, what that felt like, I don't know, but that's the love, and that's that want to do it that can only be found at an event like the world's toughest mudder. So big shout out to all you athletes, the inspiration that you provide to each and every one of us. We keep coming out here year after year, and to me it's not a job, it's an honor to be part of this community, an honor to be at that finish line and watch guys beat guys like Dave, right? Dave kicked cancer's ass in 2019. And normally what you do in Wisconsin when you beat cancer is you just go hang out in casinos and play bingo and say, I'm the luckiest guy on the planet, it's got to keep rolling, right? But not Dave. Dave says cancer was nothing. You know what else is going to be nothing? 25 hours of sitting at Matterhorn. He's not going to climb Matterhorn, he's going to help you climb Matterhorn. So he allows you to use his body for 25 hours. And I know cancer was a bitch, right? Cancer was a bitch. But he was sitting next to a dude named Paul, who in 90-degree weather was wearing a green gorilla suit that by hour 22 had the smell like the 7th layer of hell, or the porta potties that were behind us. And you were able to withstand that and then help a young lady across the finish line. I believe her name was Michelle Carney, who hit her personal best in large part thanks to Dave Didier. So a big thank you to our volunteers like Dave, and a big thank you to each and every one of you out there. Thank you for making me part of your community.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Tommy. So, on the back of that, let's celebrate the winners, the 2024 Holy Grail champions. And for the women, the Holy Grail champion is Mindy Archer with 350.80 miles. And for the men, Gary Andrews with 330.25 miles.
Overhand for our Holy Grail champions. This is another program, but before we go on to the adaptive athletes, Tommy mentioned the Men of Matterhorn. If you were one of the Men of Matterhorn, or if you were at Dublin Walls, or if you were at, what else am I missing? What am I missing? Everest. If you guys, one of those guys, can you stand up where you are? And if you were at the World's Toughest Mudder yesterday, and one of those guys helped you over an obstacle, will you stand up real quick? Let's do one more here. I know, without a shadow of a doubt, a lot of people got goals, 100 miles, almost 100 miles, 75, 50 miles. Without a shadow of a doubt, a lot of you, a lot of us would not have hit those goals without those guys at those obstacles, men and women. Thank you so much. One more hand. Okay, one more thing and then we'll move on. They pay for their ticket just like you do. They donate their time. They bought a plane ticket, $500 for the race ticket. It's not like they're donating their time, they're donating their shoulders, their thighs. If you get a chance, talk to one of them, say, hey, can I see your shoulder? I promise you, it looks like hamburger. Anyway, thank you guys very much. One more time. We want to recognize some members of the Tough Mudder community from all year long, not just from this weekend, the adaptive athletes. For this category, I'm going to call up Charles Tink Luzenik, Dan McDonald, and Blind Pete. Come on, guys. And then also representing for Jesse Strawham, Charlie Charbonneau, and for Diana Codespody, Ryan Freed. Come on, guys.
We came up with an award for some inputs from every Sarah Fox, fitness, and self-care, and a bunch of y'all. Money up for that. Joey is more bunch of stars, Sarah Fox, and Joey. I just told you that we were going to come here and he was going to get the volunteer at the brunch. That's what we had to get. But just so we're going to present him with 2 bids. It's 45.
Says 24-hour badass, world's toughest mudder, adaptive athlete. All right, one more time for our adaptive athletes.
It's absolutely incredible achievements. Next, we're moving on to our community awards. First award is the Camaraderie Award, and we are handing that to Elizabeth Lukanchik. Next up is the Accomplishment Award, and that goes to James Gilliard. He's came with some nomination that I'm to read out. So, for all of you who don't know, James Gilliard, he's visually impaired, and we've all watched him confront his fears and push through, trying new obstacles and overcoming personal pain and fears out on the course. He ran at Pittsburgh Infinity, he did Chicago Toughest, and just yesterday, he did World's Toughest Mudder. He's worked tremendously hard, so let's give him a round of applause, James Gilliard. Our next award is the Mental Grit Award, and this goes to B. Woods. B. was with us all night on the live stream, chatting along and supporting us. And despite having a series of conditions and disabilities, such as Tourette's, autism, ADHD, and being a permanent chair user, B refuses to allow labels to stop her. She's worked with TMHQ to help create the Adaptive Athlete Program and make the village more accessible with things like placement and accessibility toilets, and to make reasonable adjustments to make regular volunteering possible for adapted athletes. The trust she places in her team on course to haul her over high obstacles on a harness and ropes is immense, proven by the fact she is the only known chair user in Europe to have conquered Mudderhorn. She's a true example of how to succeed in the face of adversity. 5 tough mudders, 1 infinity, and 5 volunteer shifts. All of this, she's not only in a wheelchair, but neurodiverse and suffers with mental health problems. Congratulations to you. And
This is a little added bonus for somebody who's been helping us so much in this program, keep it going with Spartan as well as Tough Mudder. I want to bring Dan McDonald up here. He's been out on the course helping the athletes. He's been behind the scenes helping these athletes actually afford to be out on this course. He's done so much for us.
One more time for our community award winners.
for our next award, I want to invite Megan and Vanessa from TMHQ up to the stage.
Sucks. Yeah. Want to thank him for everything he's done this year.
I'm not the only one who agree with that.
I think one of the things I love most about Tough Mudder, I'm relatively new to the Tough Mudder. I never quite how the cheering about such.
For years, I've always said that the second best thing about the World's Toughest Mudder is the community. The first best thing is the sweet, sweet bibs. doorbell. Schjott is probably the one person that does not need an introduction here at Tough Mudder or Roast Up Mudder. I heard him say this overnight, I think, but I remember him saying at the start line of my very first Roast Up Mudder that you don't finish at the finish line. You finish out there, and then you make it to the finish line. And we go back every time we do Roast Up Mudder.
Really, man, awesome, brother. Thank you. I love what you've done. How you supported this community. You supported OCR as a whole, man. You're doing great work out there, man. Keep on doing it. Thank you very much. Evert? Yeah, you. Awesome job. Please give that man an applause. Thank you so much, man. You know, Ted and I did to the frankly all. This was, and not the best, none was better. Thank you, Evert. Thank you. And also to the crew, our Tough Mudder, I'll say Spartan crew. If you don't know them, get to know them, y'all. They are awesome people. And when I talk to them, they get, every time they see you guys doing what you do, they come back and I'm having conversation with them. We love about Tough Mudder. So get to know this new crew, man. They're awesome people. They're family. They should be in the family. So, anyone that was involved with this event this year, you've been to a lot of them too, man. It's amazing. It had that pure feeling of, you know me, I push the community. It had the pure feeling of that community. To see you guys supporting each other like you do out there. See the reach and the goals. There was a young lady I was talking to, ankle. She thought I'd been broken even, and she was doing that talk that we all do, and kind of talk yourself out of it. And I said, yeah, well, you don't want to injure yourself, you know, but you want to talk yourself out of it. And all of a sudden I saw her do 2 more laps. Yes. I don't know her name, but she's here today. You inspired the hell out of it. Yes. Is it? Yeah. But most of all, guys, again, this community is forever, no matter what. You sent the ripple through the world. You make this world better. Remember that, feel that, get this feeling in everything you do moving forward. All right. Hey, Jay, that's for the mug, man. Yeah, I got something, man. But don't worry about that. That's hard. Thanks, Jen.
Also, bring back up Lynn Jackson and Tommy Gayler. We're about to do our elite podiums. Our elite podium. Tommy, Lynn, come up to the stage.
We're going to be starting with our team champions today. In third place, with the Iowa Hawkeyes, with 100 miles.
Such a great name. Great name. It took us a while, but we got it.
So last year, 24. In third place, with 105 miles, it's Christian Brown Thompson.
You guys all going up?
That's awesome.
Yeah, stick around after the zoo was in it.
10 miles, it's Joshua Pure. And in first place, with 150 miles, it's Michael Schjott. If you remember last year, you'll remember right to the finish line after racing all night, after sustaining injuries. Josh Story crossed the finish line. He was in third place. He had a wonderful smile on his face and he looked so happy. And then he looked ahead and saw the man he'd been battling with, Joseph Rocco, already there. And his face dropped. And he looked so sad. It was so heartbreaking. He handled it beautifully. He took a few moments, he was kind to everyone, he congratulated all the winners. And then he took this year, and he worked so hard. He worked and trained, and this is his goal, this is his A race. He cancelled other events to make sure he was on the top of his game. And even when Ryan Atkins showed up, surprisingly, he still had a smile on his face, and knew he was going to go out there and give it his very all. And every time, once again, he passed the booth and we called his name, and he ran past like this. It's like on one lap, but we got slightly broken. He kept going, and he kept battling, and he took second place, and he took an incredible 110 miles. Woo! And I just want to give him congratulations.
Yeah, Josh! We love you, Josh! Hey, I just want to give a special shout out to Michael Schjott, our first place man. Where's Michael at? Michael, last year at World Toughest Mudder, Michael Schjott came out, started like a cannon. And you know, if you start World Toughest Mudder fast, it's hard to maintain that for the entire race. Every single one of us knows that, and we still run too fast on the sprint lap. I know that. Michael was in first. The first 12 hours of the race, he was crushing. We didn't know his name. We had to look him up. Is this guy going to be able to do this? This is crazy. He's from Denmark. What's he doing? And then about midnight, he stopped going around. And we got boring messages online. Can you go to Michael's tent? Can you check on him? What happened? Which was tent? He was taking a nap. So Michael, you can't win a race when you're sleeping. He needed a nap. He slept for 3 hours. When he woke, and we've seen this before too. People start fast and they stop. And they say, you know what? I didn't respect the race enough. Maybe I thought I was too hot. We've seen it before. And so we weren't like, oh, well, that happens. When Michael woke up, he came like a bullet from a gun. He woke up in like 9th place, kept going around and around, worked himself up into 2nd place last year. I've never seen anything like it. That was 2023. Shout out to Michael Schjott. This year, he did something else I've never seen before. Do you guys remember Rhea Coble? Yeah. Women's winner, back-to-back champion. Rhea Coble did something no one's ever done before. Rhea Coble won the sprint lap, and then she just kept going and won the whole thing. Only time that's ever happened in the history of World Toughest Mudder, man or woman, Rhea Coble, 2017. We were talking about this on the live stream. Hey, whoever wins the sprint lap, they're not going to win the whole thing. Don't worry about that. Until Michael Schjott decided, I'm going to win the sprint lap, and I'm going to win the whole race. Michael Schjott, he led wire to wire, never been done on the men's side. Congratulations to Michael Schjott.
Moving on to the female champions. In third place is Sarah Tucker. In second place is Jenny Stick with 90 miles. And in first place is Nikki Karamba.
Right, before you guys go, let's bring up the men again. Group up. Bring up the top 3 men, top 3 women.
So we will love our stats and our little bits of information. We're always writing them down. And you might be interested to know that Nikki Karamba is the only woman to have 95 miles. No woman has 95 miles. She is the only one. And she did that. Well, Chris has got 100, but she's had 95. And she did that whilst being a pit orphan.
How many of you guys were orphans this year? How many of you guys used the architect? Let me give a big round of applause for Tracy Watson. Tracy, come on up here. So
Listen, the York is community-driven. It started as a community and now it's supported by Tough Mudder every year. The first time I really got to know Tracy was on a course. You remember this? At Toughest Mudder Whistler. She was running. She was competing. We were both out running. Yeah, I was running. Air quotes running alongside Tracy, and that's when I think I first got to meet you, and I learned you kind of have a potty mouth. Anyway, it is my honor to bring up Tracy, and we want to do something here.
So, every year we award orphans such a huge contribution to orphans on all our races. How many of you guys had some food from Orphan 10?
We're talking about, we have a race week on the second, we have Orange Jacket Steve out. But before that, if you look to your right, my left, do you see that giant map on the wall? Who here set a major goal? Who hit 100 miles, 75 miles, or 50 miles this year at World Steps Better? Raise your hand. How many of you would like a 8-foot, 12-foot memorabilia memory to take home with you? We're gonna auction it off. We're gonna auction that off right now. All proceeds are going to go to charity Oscar Mike. Who wants that map for $100? $100 if you take that map home. Give me a yeah! To the man in the dress. Who wants to take that map home for who wants for 150 in the back? 150. 200 in the green. 200 in the green shirt. 250 in the berry bag. Raise your hand again. $250. Do I have $300 for that map? $300, another green shirt. I need $350. You can take this home. This is a memory forever. I have a map from World Steps Better 2016 in my closet. My wife doesn't know about it. Don't tell her. It's that size. It's giant. I need $350 and you can take that map home with you. Let me see a hand. $350. Where's my $300 winner? I need $325 and you have the biggest souvenir. $325. If you're like, hey, I need some merch to bring home with me for World Steps Better, you're not going to beat that. $325. I need $330. $400. Is that what that is? $400 for charity for Oscar Mike. $400 in the back. $425. $500 in the middle. His wife is looking at him like, what? We're on the plane. How are you to pack that? You'll figure it out. TSA, they don't care. $550 in the back. $550. Come on, we're way past reasonable. You're gonna have the best souvenir, one of a kind. There's not enough. No one else has that. You can brag about that. If you want to start a podcast, it's a great background. If you need a blanket, it's really heavy, like a weighted blanket. Stop more than that. $550. Is that what you said? $500. I got $500. I need $525, and you can take that weighted blanket that looks like World Steps Better 2024. $525. Is that a question? All right. $550 and we'll stop. $550 and we'll stop. Okay, $550. It's going to charity. It's for a good cause. You can sleep well at night under your brand new World's Toughest blanket. $550. I got $525 over here. $525 once. $525 twice. $525 sold.
Incredible. Thank you so much. As in the spirit of today, which is Veterans Day and Remembrance Day, the theme of veterans and adaptive athletes, all proceeds from that auction will be going to Oscar Mike. So thank you so much.
It is time for a cherished World Steps Better ceremony, the Orange Jackets. Can I have all current Orange Jacket holders to the side of the stage, please? When you run World Steps Better, 100 miles is an elusive goal. Coming into World Steps Better 2024, before this year, only 18 men, 17 men, and one woman had ever run 100 miles. This year at World Steps Better, we had 9 people run 100 miles. Give it up for that.
sit man.
Joshua Christian Johnson, DJ Fox, Tyler Veerman, Michael Scott,
Joe Rucco.
Joseph Rucco.
Come on, Will.
The hero. All right. For our new orange jacket holder, we need to get orange jackets for our new jacket holders in the hands of our old jacket holders. Karl, can we bring up our jackets? And then Francesca and Serina is going to read the names of our new orange jacket winners.
So these gentlemen are additions to our Hall of Fame, and I do want to acknowledge that some guys up here get 100 miles this year, a repeat edition. So right now we're going to be handing out the new jackets. So can I please call up Grant Thompson, Andrew Roberson,
Big stuff everywhere.
I'm pretty sure more men are walking up noon than run under lives. So that's a very elite for trying making that up. No fact check. Let's give it one more time for our orange jacket winner. Does one person want to say something to the new guys about your elite fraternity, right? You want to say something?
Yeah.
You're 100 milers. Clap them off stage.
So World's Toughest Mudder 2024. I personally think this is my third World's Toughest Mudder, and every year it's been incredible. I've been blown away by not only this event and what the people at Tough Mudder take part. And it's more than just a sporting event, it's a whole.
Let me tell you why World's Toughest Mudder is so special to me. It is 100% the community. It's when you finish a lap, you know there are going to be people in the pit area that are going to encourage you, that are going to give you a high five, they're going to try and encourage you to get back out there as fast as possible. I told you, my first time at World's Toughest was 2015. I ran 15 miles, don't you dare clap. I wanted to get 50 miles. I wanted 50 miles so bad. I wanted that brown bib. And getting 15 was the worst failure of my life for that. It was so disappointing. And I tried, I came back, and I got 30 something. I came back, and I was short. I kind of kept falling short. 100% my fault. And it was like, I go on a year in like 2016 when everyone got 50 miles, and I didn't. It broke my heart. I knew it was on me. And I finally, in 2021, I finally got my 50 miles. And it did so, 7 years it took me to get it. For 6 years. I got it. And I remember when I was doing it, I was running from my pit out for the lap, and I was like, I gotta get out there, I gotta get on the course. And my headlamp broke. Like literally it was breaking as I was going from my pit area to the start line. And I was like, I gotta go. And a guy, he's like, hey, he saw me, he's like, you need a headlamp. Yeah, I need a headlamp. He gave me his headlamp. He was like, I don't know if he's like, I got an extra one, you can use it. I don't know if he had an extra one, he might have been lying to me, but he knew I needed a headlamp. Without you, without the members of the community, without each other, this race is nothing. This is the community is the most important part of the race. So thank you. The World's Toughest Mudder is a family. Thank you so much for coming to World's Toughest Mudder 2024.
Next year, we have the great pleasure of hosting World's Toughest Mudder over in England. Now I'm going to say if you think the community is something, you need to see that Europe and the UK mixed together. And I hope so much you will travel over and join us, because that is going to be one heck of a show.
You know what's wild about World's Toughest Mudder 2025? Fran is so excited about World's Toughest Mudder in England. She's been working on this English accent she's from Nebraska. She's been practicing this. She's like, I'm gonna do it the whole brunch. I was like, don't do it the whole brunch, they're gonna know it's fake. She is so excited. Let me tell you how excited I am. I want to watch, do you guys want to watch a video? Do you watch a video about World's Toughest Mudder? Let's watch World's Toughest Mudder 2024. After we dismiss, as soon as I say goodbye to you, we're gonna do a big picture, so don't go anywhere. Like literally, just stand where you are and scoot to the middle, okay? Stand where you are, scoot to the middle, we're gonna do a big picture, and then if you want to get some more pictures, we'd love to have you here up front on stage with all your bibs and everybody. I will see you in England. Thank you, World's Toughest Mudder!
And how about for Will and Gray? You guys, that was fantastic hosting!
Alright, everyone stand up, get to the middle. We're gonna get a big picture real quick.
All right, we'll start with your name and where you're from.
Joseph Alvey, Kansas City, Kansas.
Trevor Holland, Iowa. Andy Fish, Iowa. Cutler Holland, Boston.
What made you want to sign up as a team? Have you guys done this before? Tell me a little bit about your background.
I'm new to the team. The first toughest mudder I did was actually in Chicago about 2 months ago. I wasn't even supposed to be on the team, but someone had to drop out, so I just filled in and kind of got peer pressured into it, but glad to do it.
Tell me about your history with the team.
Yeah, so me and my brother have put the team together for the last 6 years, and I think we've been on the podium the last 6 years, so yeah, it's been fun.
How's it feel to run with these guys?
Feels great. I mean, they're great teammates, and we got third place, so what could be better than that?
Tell me about the team name. It admittedly took us a long time on the live stream to figure it out.
So I had an Army guy who was an Iowa Hawkeye fan, and he would always say, I love Iowa hot guys. And so I was like, that's funny. It's a play on word. I was like, hot guys is awesome. We're old dudes. We're not really that hot, but it's the Iowa Hot Guys is kind of a cool name. So it was like, we've changed names every year. We've been on the podium since 2018.
Do you remember some of the previous names?
We were Cristelli Fitness. We were Poor Boy Running.
Remember that one?
We won in Laughlin.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so we got first place in Laughlin. We got third the last 2 years. We got second in Georgia, both years in Atlanta. Both years in Atlanta, we got second.
Cool. And then I guess final thoughts on how World's Toughest Mudder went for you this year. What are your thoughts on it?
Pretty good. This is my first World's Toughest, so I mean, placing is pretty exciting. I didn't really have any expectations, so just went out and did what I could.
The sand brought back nightmares of Laughlin.
Sure it did, yeah.
It kind of was a suck, and the sun just drained you when you're out in the sand too.
Yeah.
See, this is my kind of weather to run in.
Right.
I like hot weather. I really like the new team format,
yeah,
where only one person has to run at a time. That was great for me. It was too hot. They had to pack me in ice after the first lap. It was way too hot. They had to pack me in ice in Laughlin, and they had to pack me in ice after the first lap here again. So it's not what I like.
Congratulations, and hope to see you guys at Beaver Castle next year.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome.
Evert Sirs, from Australia, but currently living in New York.
And what was your role in this year's World's Toughest Mudder?
I was the race director for World's Toughest Mudder 2024.
Big responsibility. How do you feel that it went?
It was great. Every year's amazing. Every year's different. But we had a great year, some amazing results. Florida brought its own challenges. It wasn't the cold of Atlanta. It wasn't the wind of Las Vegas. But anyone running through those sand dunes definitely felt it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to hear too much about behind-the-scenes stuff, but just what are some basic things that people may not understand of the difficulty of putting on a 24-hour race like this?
Yeah, for the team on the ground, the team building it, it's a 2-week cycle on the ground. We build the 20 obstacles. We mark the 5 miles of course. This year we also had to build the extra course for the 5K runners running in the morning. So team on the ground doing an absolutely amazing job. Still a few more days till they can head home. Obviously, participants head home, everyone else is going, but they'll pack up, finish off their job, and then they'll head home soon as well.
And then not to mention, things that happen on the fly, constantly need to make changes. I know Crusade had to make a bit of a movement. We can talk about that now.
Yeah, we can talk about it now. A combination of the hurricane coming through and the expansion of a few lakes. We saw the local inhabitants decided that we should move to a different area. Alligators are a little different obstacle than the standard stuff we put on course. So we made those changes on the fly. Honestly, this year, the weather gods were kind to us. I couldn't be happier right now. It's been a whirlwind 48 hours, I guess.
And then first-time race director of World Toughest Mudder, but you've been in the Tough Mudder community for a while. Just final thoughts on what Tough Mudder means to you.
Yeah, first World's Toughest was 2018 in Atlanta. It's still, to this day, the most miserable time I've spent on site ever. It was cold, wet, disgusting. I still walked away from it with an amazing feeling of it. I love the Tough Mudder events, but this one hits different. It's number 6 for me. Number 7, I should know. It's amazing. The awards have just wrapped up. The speeches made by everyone of their personal goals. Obviously the elites and the records were amazing. But even down to, the community awards, the adaptive athlete program, this is so much more than just a race. It really was a great event all around.
Yeah, and the community is important, but also we need a good race to rally around. So I just want to thank you one more time for putting on awesome event. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, perfect.
Scotty Campbell. I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
And how was your World's Toughest Mudder this year?
It was. I was on course on my feet for the full 25 hours, so that was the main objective. I was hoping to hit 100 miles, but came a little bit shy of that. Hit 95.
95 is still very, very impressive. What do you think you'd have to change in order to get to the 100 though?
I'm not sure. I had a great race. The first, I would say, 3/4 of the race was going really smoothly. Just kind of lost a little bit of steam. Lap time started to drop just a touch into that range where the numbers weren't going to add up to hit that 100 mark. So I'd love to come back and give it another shot at some point.
Yeah. What did you think about the obstacles on the course?
They were great. I think, it was, the course itself and the obstacles are very like a traditional Tough Mudder weekend, which I think was fine. Like the obstacles are still, challenging. And overnight when they got a little bit wet and slippery, he still failed a few obstacles. But yeah, I thought the obstacles were great. Yeah.
How was it balancing nutrition, hydration, everything in that heat?
I tried to stay on top of that early. I decided to start the race with the vest and carry at least a liter of water per lap, and stayed on top of that right from the get-go because I knew it was gonna. If I didn't, it was gonna be trouble. I'm sure. Yeah.
And then any thoughts on coming to Beaver Castle next year?
I don't think so. I probably won't be there in the UK, but I'm hopeful it'll come back here. We'll see. Yeah.
And then shout out to your coach.
Yeah, shout out to my coach, JJ Fox. He's been coaching me for the last 2 years, and I was honored to have him as my pit crew this year, and he pushed me really hard to keep moving. Even when the goal of 100 was off the table, he kept me moving all night long. So big shout out to him. I'm grateful for him.
And congratulations for 95 miles. That is absolutely incredible.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hallee, Milot, Augusta, Georgia.
And how did your race go?
Oh, man. I'm seriously still blown away by it. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. Okay. Truly. I felt like I was dying from lap 4.
Yep.
And I still had 12 more in me somehow.
What's your background with Tough Mudder?
This was my second Worlds, second year doing the whole endurance series, but I've done Tough Mudders like the 15K since 2014.
Okay. Yeah.
So, wow.
What was the last World's Toughest Mudder that you ran?
Granbury, Texas.
Okay, so last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how did that one treat you? What'd you get for mileage there?
I got 50, but 12 miles of that penalties.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It was so penalty dense with the distance.
Oh
my gosh.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my goodness. This was just a whole different beast. I went into it with a different mindset.
Yeah.
3 months ago, I got first place in my age group, I think at the Chicago Toughest.
Okay.
And so I was like, all right, I did 40 miles in 12 hours. So why not just repeat that again? And I somehow managed to, and it was amazing.
Yeah. How did it feel to cross the finish line for the last time?
I think I fully collapsed. It was exhausting, and I was really out of it. I cried a lot. Yeah. Thankfully, the photographers, none of them caught that on camera. But the emotions that you go through out the night are just nothing like I've experienced.
Yeah, I've never been to the elite level, but yeah, I've been on the course out there, and I know exactly the feelings, the emotions. But to reach that kind of accomplishment, to have like the lap leader, everything, like
It's
surreal.
amazing. It was very surreal. It still is. Like, I'm just blown away.
What were your thoughts on the course with like favorite and least favorite obstacles?
I don't think I'll ever touch a grain of sand again in the rest of my life, and I'll be happy with that. I think overall it was, for a flat course, it sure was ankle rolling. Does that make sense? Like, there were so many plants out there that it made, the terrain was kind of hard. The sand was like 15 minutes of hell.
Yeah.
And then everything else was not bad. It was nice not having huge elevation changes. The weather was my kind of weather. I am not a cold girl. My body shuts down.
Okay.
And so having it warm was just no wetsuit.
Yeah.
I was happy.
It's really funny seeing like different types of people that some love the heat, some love the cold. I love the cold. A lot of people love the heat. And if you love the heat, this was a magnificent course.
Absolutely. I think this was the hottest Worlds that they've ever had.
Yes.
That's my kind of weather. Like, that's what I need.
So now with that goal complete, what else are you looking forward to in the future? Coming back to going to Beaver Castle next year potentially, or?
I think that I would love to, the first time out of the United States, to kind of represent the United States.
Right.
But I don't know. Last year I wanted the 50-mile bib. This year I wanted the 75-mile bib. And it's scary as hell to think of what I'd have to do for the 100-mile bib, but I guess that would be next. Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time to talk to me, and congratulations on an excellent performance.
Thank you very much.
Jessica Johnson. I'm from Orange County, California.
I want to start off by thanking you again for the bacon crackers.
Oh, of course. Bacon crackers are the ultimate pit food.
What magic was in that?
So bacon crackers are a club cracker with bacon and brown sugar. And then you bake it at 350 for 25 minutes. Perfect race snack.
Wonderful, wonderful. How was your World's Toughest Mudder?
It was hot,
Yeah.
but it was great. My runners made their goals or were happy with their adjusted goals.
Okay.
So it was a good time. Most of the time, able to get them out quickly, but you know.
Were any complaints frequently coming up from them in terms of like obstacles or parts of the course?
The sand from Kill Gorilla.
Yep.
Definitely the sand, definitely the cargo net on Pyramid Scheme. They did not like that. Mosquitoes coming out at sundown. That was not fun for anybody.
Yep. Yeah.
But other than that, you know, while there was no big, huge new obstacles, I think everybody was pretty happy with how the course was laid out.
What advice would you give to someone who is hitting for other people?
Get to know what your runner likes. Kind of talk to them about what they like to eat. Make sure you know any allergies. Make sure you know their goals, and don't let them quit. Just keep them going.
And then you, as a person, how does it feel to be back here for World's Toughest Mudder?
It's great. I love seeing everybody. I will be going across the pond next year, so excited to see everybody there. Excited to see new people.
Yes. Yeah.
See who else comes out for a race and see what they can do.
We'll love seeing you, and thanks for sharing an awesome night.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm Tyler from Norwalk, Connecticut.
And how did World's Toughest Mudder go for you?
It went great. Got my goal of 75 and then 5 on top for a total 80.
That's amazing. How does that feel?
Hurts.
That's fair. That's fair. What did you think about the temperature of the course? Yes.
Temperature meaning outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, perfect. Because when you're going in water all the time, like I did Atmore 2 years ago, and I was in a wetsuit for 17 hours and was terrible and still shaking. So to not have to think about clothing was an element I didn't want to think about.
Fair. What did you think about the obstacles on the course?
They weren't super technical, which some mudders didn't really like, but I found it okay because I got them every time, didn't do many penalties.
Right. What penalties did you have to take?
Sometimes I just decided to do the dizzy bat penalty for the reborn one.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was just uncomfortable. The menthol gas and like the compression of the water jugs or whatever.
Yeah, some people said it made them feel cold. Some people were happy that it made them cool off. What did you think about that?
Definitely cleared up the sinuses for sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and kind of jolted you awake, especially in those overnight hours.
An ironic thing about that obstacle, because I went through the whole course and interviewed all the volunteers, the 2 volunteers there both had colds.
Interesting.
And
well,
they just happened to be stationed there, which I thought was very interesting. That is going to be fun to edit out later. So now that you've hit your goal and beat your goal to get to 80, what are your thoughts moving forward?
Maybe someday I'd like to get an orange coat. I don't know how I'd have to get there because I trained a lot for this event. I was probably doing, 60, 70 mile weeks, and, to be a, full-time employee and also doing all those miles, there wasn't much time for much else. So yeah, I'm getting married next year, so so might have to be a little while, but I would definitely like to get an orange coat.
Totally fair. Awesome. And then anything else planned?
Not this year. No, taking some time off from running. This is my PSA to take a break, especially if you're doing these kind of events. But I'm looking at a half Ironman next year, so that's what I'm going to get after.
Awesome. Well, great seeing you, man. Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Nikki Karamba from Johannesburg, South Africa.
So what made you want to do World's Toughest Mudder this year?
I wanted to come and see if I could do better than I did last year. Last year was my first one, and I was really happy with how I did last year, so I just wanted to push harder.
And how did you do last year in terms of miles?
I got 80 miles and came 4th overall.
So how does it feel to come back and do even better than last year?
It's so surreal. Originally I wanted 85 miles, then it grew to 90 miles, and I cannot believe I did 95 miles. If you had asked me 2 days ago, I would have told you it was absolutely impossible, that it couldn't happen.
It's incredible. We were very excited in the commentating booth about how well you were doing, because that doesn't happen very often for the ladies. That's up there for some of the best performances of all time. So how does it feel to be ranked among the greats in this sport?
I didn't even know what a big deal it was. I know it sounds silly, but my husband just explained this morning, like how it just doesn't happen that often, And when I was running, and I knew I had to do 90, that was okay. And then he still said to me if I wanted to win, I'd have to get to 95. Yeah. And I knew time-wise I'd have the time to do it, but I actually just didn't know if I had the legs. Yeah. And then, got it done, and it seemed cool, and it seemed okay. And then, when he explained to me this morning how few people have got there, it's mind-blowing. It's really, it's so surreal. It just it feels so weird.
And what's your athletic background to bring you to this kind of performance?
I started running at like 30 after having my first baby. Did a bit of road running, and then got into a bit of obstacle racing, and then only started doing proper ultra running probably about 6 years ago. Okay. And absolutely love the ultra running now. I don't want to ever go back to short distances. Yeah, and then the obstacles are just so much more fun. I love the mountain running. I love the obstacle running. Yeah. And then the Tough Mudder community is just next level. There's no race in the world that has the same feeling as this does.
No, definitely not. But in South Africa, you guys do have Warrior Race, right? Is that still around?
It is. It's very, very small. And it just, nothing compares to this. This is just spectacular. The obstacles, the build, the organization, the people, the community, the orphan tent. The orphan tent, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the orphan tent. Yeah. To go out and win toughest as an orphan, it's because of the people who were behind me the whole time. That's how I got to where I am.
That's something that we were very interested in, because I was running with you as you were coming through the shoot and stuff, and they're like, "Is that an orphan tent guy? It looks like she's with like an orphan tent guy." I'm like, I don't think so, because I thought I saw her kiss somebody else, and I was very confused. But so you were provided by nutritions and stuff with the orphan tent. That's amazing.
Yeah, so we did all our own nutrition. So what happened is last year when we came over, we contacted Tracy, and she said, she'll get someone to come and help us. And Dwayne helped us a bit last year. And it was so amazing that about 2 months ago, I reached out to him and I said, please, will you please help us again this year? So Tracy and Dwayne were like, yeah, sure, but he still has to look after other people and he has to look after the tent. So Dwayne was just unbelievable. So we just had everything set up. I don't know how we could have done it without him. So.
And then final thoughts on how the course was and everything for you. I know that South African OCR is very known for very good grip strength, but what do you think about the obstacles?
I love the course. I thought it was brilliant. I thought the design was so brilliant because just simple changes like pyramid wall, pyramid squeeze. Yeah. Right, yeah. I thought that was genius because it's terrible having obstacles that you can't complete on your own if you have to. And it was probably the most revolting obstacle out there. It was hell doing that. So it was so smart. I loved Ladder to Hell, how that changed. I thought that was awesome. I thought the penalties were great because last year the runs were hectic, and I I think it's a good thing. I think penalties should suck. If you can't do obstacles, you must be punished. It's that simple. Exactly. So I love the obstacles this year because they did suck. They took more time than the obstacles did. But the course design was great. The sand was horrendous. It was absolute hell. I hated every minute of that sand. Yes. But the course design was great. The obstacles were great. It really was an incredible event.
Awesome. Well, incredible event, incredible performance. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, you nailed it.
You don't want a second microphone?
I think I told you a little bit. I'm having trouble with this port, and I don't want to get a new one of these because it's still working. So again, I've had this one since the start, since 2017.
Listen, you know yourself.
It's working. So start off with your name and where you're from.
Mappy Davis, Atlanta, Georgia.
And how was your World's Toughest Mudder 2024?
Amazing. Whole new world for me. I chose to crew to give myself a new experience because I'd never done that. I mean, obviously I've helped people, but I've never actually been my job. And I got to crew for my friend Peter. And part of me through the night was like, oh, I should do more social media. I should do more of this. And then normally what would happen is I would look at the leaderboard and be like, yep, missed them again. You know what I mean? Every time I looked, she'd be at start. Okay. And what's her name? Nikki would be at mile 1. And I'd be like, all right. And so that always just kind of calmed me down. Like, you know what? I'm going to get plenty of interviews at the brunch. Yeah. I'll get what I can on social. And then looking back, like I got quite a bit on social. But at the time, I remember thinking like, oh, you're not doing enough. I almost always have an extra person. Like in past years, actually, JD did it. Or Haruko. I almost got Haruko this year last minute.
Okay. I've never met Haruko, but I've
oh my God, she's the best. So many times, And that just kind of lets me relax. But anyway, I think I needed that. I mean, as I have famously said, and I'm extremely proud of not missing one, my 12th one, I needed to mix it up.
Yeah. And I think that's okay. As I always say, like there's so many different ways to enjoy and experience a World's Toughest Mudder. You can volunteer. You could pay for your race and be one of those crazies out in the course helping people for 24 hours. You could do media. There's this, there's that. And it's just one of the best events. That being said, you have said that you're thinking about not going next year, and then you found out it's in Europe. So what are your thoughts on it being at Beaver Castle?
Oh, well, yeah. So I was going to, quote unquote, like quietly have my last year. Not last year ever, but like I'm going to take a year off. Like, and I was even saying to people, if it wasn't Florida, I probably wouldn't even go this year. Like I was really not very pro World's Toughest Mudder. And then they announced UK, and I'm like, well, I have to do it there. I love the UK. I love people in the UK. And then if you heard me in video or podcast the last couple weeks, once I started talking about it, then I got excited. Once Jason and I did a little preview episode, once I heard who was coming, then it was like, okay, let's go. Yeah. Like it's gonna be on. It's gonna be awesome. But I gotta say that this is gonna sound like, I hope this doesn't sound like douchey or whatever, but they say like for Jordan or Brady or whatever, the game slows down. I gotta say that I was very much able to like take the weekend in a really like the first however many years. It's just like I'm just gonna eat whatever is stuck in front of my face. If I'm with the Tough Mudder crew, I'm just gonna eat pizza and whatever's there. And it's like I bought groceries and I ate like breakfast, lunch, and dinner on time because I had the food to go get it. I mean, a little bit late, like probably a late lunch or whatever, but it was like, oh, it's morning. I'm going to make myself some oatmeal now. Yeah. Instead of just like you guys had all the good shit and like that's normally cookies and whatever. And so like in that way, it's like, okay, now it's the night. Okay, now we're into the kind of like 3 to 5 a.m. kind of sucks part. Yeah. Once we're into the sun is going to come up by the next time he comes around. Yeah. Was like, okay, now we're into that part of the race. So it's just kind of like, it was very cool that way.
Segmented a little bit. I could see that. Also, you had a trip to Europe. I don't believe it was to Beaver Castle, but you didn't like cover a Tough Mudder over there?
Does this pick up when you're not that far away? I'm like always so paranoid about being too.
I edit. No, I bring it up every time. You know I do.
I also edit.
No, I know. It works.
Do you amplify?
Yeah. I run it through Normalizer. Levelator clears up most of everything.
Levelizer is amazing. They tried to update Audacity, and then it fucked up for me.
Yeah, I didn't update.
Never update, no. Apparently.
No, I'm like afraid to update anything. Cause, like, even like Zoom, like who knows what's going to happen. But everything's working now. If I update it, I don't know if things are going to work. So.
What was the question?
Good question. The question was, what your experience going to England, and you did a Tough Mudder there, right?
Well, first of all, I did do a Tough Mudder there, and it was gorgeous.
Was it at Beaver Castle? Or?
No. But I don't know if you've talked to Will Chung, but Will Chung thinks that this venue is the prettiest venue he's ever been to.
Really?
Your face was the exact face I made.
Yeah. He did seem very optimistic. He's like, "Oh, I loved it, and this and that, and that. And Florida is beautiful." I'm like, not what I thought was the most beautiful. Well, I guess what are we comparing it to?
Well, to me, this is like. Would you not say that Florida is like the Florida of the United States?
Yeah.
Like Florida, Florida is we're in the swamp, dude. Yeah. I've been to. You have Beaver Castle. There's literally a castle. You have where I went, where there's these stone walls that are literally 1,000 years old and the most beautiful green, I'm telling you, I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. And he's like, this is the prettiest course I've ever been on. So anyway, here's the most important part. Okay. Here's the most important thing you need to know, listener, is talking to them behind the scenes. And I'm sure I will do a future podcast. I had Kate on already a little bit. They want to blow it out. That's what I'm saying. They want to show us something. So I think it's going to be great.
I think I've already heard that registrations are already more than they were this year.
This was a pretty low year. Yes. I want to say lowest since Atlanta, but I don't even mean that. I just mean in terms of they want to give us really cool obstacles and basically hey, as a team, they're like, hey, we have a chance to show people something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They want to impress us. They know it's a big task, and they know how much worlds. You out of here? Love you, man. All right, I love you. I have to give you a hug,
All right, dude. See you see you. 70 miles?
60.
60. Well, congratulations.
Oh, 65.
65? Yeah. I don't remember.
65.
65. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Safe
travels.
That's Peter. That's Peter McNary.
Yes, yeah.
I just want to sit like this so I can see Sean. Sean's my ride in case he's... I know he's just talking to people, but in case he's whatever.
But yeah, they're planning to blow it out of the water.
Yeah, so I think... Here's the problem is the short turnaround. If it was just England next November, we'd all be like, okay, cool, I'll start planning. It's like England in 6 months, and everyone's like, I can't do that. Yeah. I have to train. I have to get the time off work.
That's a good point, too. A lot of people talk about the financial cost to get over there, which is a factor. That's totally fine. I don't know everyone's financial things, but I will say there's been a good amount of Europeans coming out here.
I thought every volunteer was British. How many did you talk to?
I talked to all of the volunteers.
I know.
And I will say I think at least a third of them.
Okay, speaking of time, you said, I'm going to go walk the whole course. I said, that's going to take you a long time. And at one point, I didn't see you for a while. You came back, and you go, Matt, it took me 5 hours. I'm like, that went by like that.
Yeah. And you know what? Turns out I had 5 hours to kill. Not that it wasn't doing what I came out here to do, but yeah, it was amazing that it took me.
But you could have said, Matt, it took me 2 hours, and I'd be like, oh, well, that was pretty quick. Right. I couldn't believe you'd been gone that long.
No, and no one could. I came back to our tent, and I'm like, did anybody miss me or no? Or were concerned where I was because my gimbal. I brought my gimbal too, to if anyone popped by, and it died, and it was charging my phone, so my phone started to die. So I just put my phone away, and so there was nothing for me for 5 hours. So, yeah, no one really noticed, but time goes on.
I was going to video you while you were asking me that question.
Well, I don't think there was a question. I think it was just kind of me rambling. So this is a bad segment. Usually, I do much better.
Okay,
but usually, I get more sleep. Just final thoughts on this coming to a close. World Toughest Mudder in Florida. It's going to Europe.
My final thoughts are, it is my favorite event for a reason. I've said this already, but you never know what's going to happen. I got to be there for people. And that always helps, right? That's always cool. Remember how I was happened to walk into the warming tent and you were there? Yep. And I was like, get back out there. This is it, man. He's talking to me and then I'm out of here. This year, I walked by Sean. There was a fire.
I'm going to hit it back over there. Edit that out.
There was a fire going at 71 degrees. Yeah. And I saw people standing around it. I'm thinking, who the fuck is sitting by a fire? And one of them is Sean Rambo. Not Rambo.
Do you know what? Also, people were skipping. People were using their bands on Arctic Enema. Many people were using their bands on Arctic Enema.
That's a waste of a skip.
I thought so too.
So he was there, and I couldn't believe it. And I was like, "You got to get going, dude." Yeah. And he's like, "Yeah, but I'm cold." And I was like, if he was legit hypothermic and body shutting down, I'd be like, "Cool, let's get to the med tent." But he was shivering a little bit, and I said, "If you keep moving." Yeah. If you keep moving, it's going to warm up. Now, what you say is the pit is cold, it's warm in the course. The pit is not cold either this year, so I couldn't say that.
Right.
but I said, just get moving. Yeah. And he kind of wasn't moving. And he says, and I can't remember, I think I physically touched his shoulder and said, come on. Because it was like, the fuck are you doing standing by this fire? Yeah. And because I just kind of knew it was in his mind. Yeah. And so doing that, and I got to help get Michael Schjott to the record. He came in and said, that's it, I'm tired. And I said, you have 3 hours to do 1 lap. And he's like, no. And I was like, you can get the record. And then his brother, who's his thing, was like, yeah. And so, again, I wasn't sure how much I helped him till he told me afterwards. Like, thank you for telling me that. Because at the time, I was really tired and it sucked, but I'm really glad I did it. So that stuff's awesome. Yeah. And then watching Karumba is awesome, and any time seeing winners is always amazing. But for me, the biggest part I think also is seeing people that made the podium or just missed the podium and then make it. Josh Fiore and CBJ.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, lovely event and great talking to you, bud.
See, this is normally what I would turn around and ask you a bunch of questions, but I want to get out of here too. I love you, buddy. See you.
Welcome back.
Thank you again to the literal hundreds of people that I talked to both on and off the mic for related episodes. I think this time I'm going to have Caitlin say it because there are so many.
Holy smokes. I just read all of those podiums.
Oh, that was in the intro. That was like 3 hours ago for the people listening. You don't have to read the whole...
45, 46, 97, 98, 150, 151, 152, 201, 254, 255, 256, 257, 305, 307. Why not 306?
Yeah, I don't remember what 306 is.
308, 356, 358.
What happened to 357? There's these questions.
359. 360, World's Toughest Mudder 2023, Part 3, Bar Crawl Interviews and a Musical Performance.
Why'd you happen to read that one and not all the others?
I just liked that it was a round number.
Okay.
410, World's Toughest Mudder 2024, Part 1, Pit Check-In and Community Dinner. 411, World's Toughest Mudder 2024, Part 2, Race Day Interviews with Athletes, Volunteers, and Pit Crews.
Yeah, so those were just the ones that were most related to covering World's Toughest Mudder. You might say that it's my favorite event of the year, and I go crazy with it, so go back and check those ones out. The ones from 2017 probably don't hold up as well, but hey, that was the Vegas year before we left and came back, so that's kind of cool.
Subscribe and follow us wherever you are on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Threads.
Yeah,
we're on all the things.
You could leave us a review, but more than anything, if you could please share these episodes in the show with a friend. Kind of disappointed with the downloads. The Tough Mudder community usually supports these more than they have been. This is a long one, so I guess it might turn away some people. But downloads have been pretty disappointing, which is a bummer, because I'm planning to go to England next year, so I can do more of this. But I hope people listen.
You can support us on Patreon, like Steve Bacon from the OCR Expo did, for as many as $2 a month or as many as $10 a month.
Yeah, coming up next, World's Toughest Mudder Part 4, Bar Crawl Interviews. So this one's going to be much, much shorter. Part of me thought I could just split this one, put some of that into that one. Nope, it's just going to be a little bit shorter. And maybe I'll take some time to talk about more of my thoughts about World's Toughest Mudder, because a lot of people posted about that, but for me, World's Toughest Mudder doesn't really end until I'm done with all these episodes. So I have one more week to hold on to. Hope you guys will be tuning in to hear that as well. Caitlin, you have a joke or a quote?
I do. My joke is, what did the turkey say when he met the president?
Gobble.
Pardon me. Because the president always pardons
Yeah,
things.
that's a good one.
And then my quote is, may you always be the one who notices the little ways light pours through, reminding you within the chaos there is more to life.
Nice. Well, that just about wraps it up. My name is Michael Stefano.
And my name is Caitlin Ritter.
I hope my back pain doesn't come back, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye!
Bye!
Thank you for listening.
If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe to our show and write us a review on your favorite podcast app.
You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook and connect with us there.
Most importantly, we would appreciate it if you shared an episode with a friend so we can reach more ears
and continue to effectively shine a light on the people in our sport, as well as the events that we are so passionate about. intro song is Streaker by Straight Up, and our outro music is Iron Call by The Best.
How did your World's Toughest Mudder go?
I'm sorry?
How did your World's Toughest Mudder go? Oh, it's all audio. You're good.
Okay, good.
You're magnificent.
I was like, 'cause I have sand in my hair still. I'm like, I don't
Who doesn't, right?
Right.
I will find that. You find the next one. Joseph Smith.
The Mormon? Wasn't it the founder?
I don't know.
Joseph Smith is definitely the founder. That's the Mormon.
Search on the podcast one so you don't get the